Chapter 252. The semi-final begins the next day. Lu Muyen and the others arrived at the central city smoothly. After entering the city, the surrounding streets were bustling with people coming and going, exceptionally lively, especially since the sword masters who were staying in the central city were all those who could participate in the second round of the competition. So they were naturally very joyful, and most of them had smiles on their faces. The difference between the central city and the other cities was that the inns wouldn't give special treatment to contestants from superpower kingdoms or large kingdoms. After all, those sword masters who could enter the second round of the competition were considered to be the best among the younger generation of this continent. If they treated people unequally, then it would probably cause discontent. Lu Muyen and her party found an inn with an elegant and quiet environment near the border of the city to stay in. If it were up to Si Nan and Helian Lai who liked luxury, they definitely wouldn't agree. But seeing that Lu Muyen had set her mind on this inn, they could only reluctantly agree, though in the end, they also booked more than half of the courtyard. After Lu Muyen entered the inn, she went directly to her room and arranged an array. Owner, are you going to dig out the crystal core of that octopus monster? Bing Ji asked as soon as Lu Muyen finished setting up the array, rubbing against her shoulder, fawning over her. Lu Muyen knew that he had been thinking about that demonic beast's crystal core for a long time, so she took out the octopus monster's corpse in amusement. The ice on it had not yet thawed. She casually tossed a cluster of purple gold spirit flame down, and the ice on the octopus monster slowly melted. She looked at the pool of water formed from the ice on the ground. Just what cultivation base did Ming Xiu achieve? This kind of elemental energy condensation into ice wasn't something that ordinary sword sovereign powerhouses could do. Seeing the look on Bing Ji, gazing until his eyes were strained, she couldn't help but smile. She stretched out her hand, took the crystal core from next to the octopus monster's heart, and tossed it to him directly. Take it to refine. Bing Ji held the crystal core in his beak, and his eyes were touched with emotion. Little owner disregarded her own life to go into the deep pond to save him, and now even gave him such a precious crystal core. Originally, Bing Ji thought of going free and unrestrained after breaking the seal, but now he suddenly made up his mind to follow Lu Muyen well in the future. Following such a mysterious and powerful owner meant having a great future. And most importantly, little owner was too generous. Owner, Meow Meow is hungry. Meow Meow looked at the crystal core of the Tier 8 demonic beast in Bing Ji's beak with a bit of envy, but not negative jealousy. Whatever owner did, it was right. Lu Muyen rubbed her head intimately, took out a few Tier 6 demonic beast's crystal cores, and put them in her hand for her to swallow. It's not suitable for you and Shue's strength to eat high-level crystal cores. Wait until you both advance to a Tier 7 demonic beast. I'll go get some Tier 7 and 8 crystal cores for you two to refine. Meow Meow loves owner the most. The little white snake swallowed a crystal core, then rubbed against Lu Muyen. The crystal cores weren't as attractive to the human-eating blood thornvine king. Ever since last time, he had transformed into a wood bracelet and hung on Lu Muyen's wrist. Owner, get some more high-level sword master's blood for me in the future, and I'll be fine. In the competition space, he absorbed a lot of fresh blood of high-level demonic beasts, and already felt the barrier of advancing. If he could suck and consume some sword master's blood, he believed that he would soon be able to break through. Lu Muyen rolled her eyes at him and warned, "Don't always think about drinking human blood. Unless they're an extremely wicked and evil person or my enemy, you're not allowed to go randomly suck human blood. Otherwise they'll definitely throw you out into the desert to accompany cacti." Shue's body froze and he deflated in decadence. As per your order. Little owner's words always counted. He definitely didn't want to go to some desert area where birds don't even lay eggs to accompany cacti. Although he preferred fresh blood, but it wasn't bad to have crystal cores to refine. So the few spirit pets went to refine the demonic beast's crystal cores with a peace of mind. There was a smile in Lu Muyen's eyes. After taking these spirit pets, life sure wasn't so boring anymore. Early the next morning, the people from the pill tower delivered the spiritual herbs she needed to the inn. The efficiency was very high, and she was also very satisfied. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, she remembered some information from the Phoenix Bangle previously. So she took out a 100-year-old spiritual herb and placed it in a profound ice box. With a thought, a green fog of spiritual energy flowed from her palm and poured into the box. Then she sealed it. If she was successful in accelerating this herb's growth, then she'd make a huge profit and would basically not need to worry about having highly aged spiritual herbs in the future. Compared to crystal cores, the few spirit pets preferred to eat pills more, but the pills she refined had practically all been consumed in the previous beast-tide battles. This time, having replenished her spiritual herbs, she spent 2 days refining pills. After another day passed, there were constant knocks outside her door. She put the last pill in a bottle and opened the door, seeing Luo Li's bright and sunny handsome face. "Are you refining pills?" Luo Li smelled a scent of pills as soon as he walked to the door. Lu Muyen nodded. "The previous pills are all used up, so I need to refine some for spares." The corner of Luo Li's lips twitched when he remembered that she swallowed pills like eating candy each time. Then he remembered the formal business and said with a smile, "Let's go to the central square." "Why go to the central square? You didn't receive the news from the jade tablet?" Luo Li asked in surprise. He came to knock on the door because he saw that Lu Muyen hadn't appeared, but he didn't expect that she didn't know about it. Lu Muyen didn't pay attention because she was refining pills before. So now that she took out the jade tablet, she found out that the organizers of the competition notified them that in another hour, they should gather in the central square where they'll announce the next round of the competition. "Let's go." When their group of people arrived at the central square, it was already filled with people, and it was very lively. Lu Muyen and the others found a remote corner and stood there. She looked around and found many powerful groups. The elite teams of superpower kingdoms were generally not just one group. Just like for Luo Yi and Sinan's kingdoms, there were 2 other teams from their kingdoms, and their strength wasn't bad either. As soon as the time on the notification arrived, a loud voice sounded in the central square. "You are all sword masters from various kingdoms who have passed the preliminary round of this time's continental tournament for hegemony. First, congratulations." As soon as his voice fell, everyone saw a middle-aged man in white appear in mid-air, and he continued with a faint smile. "But don't be arrogant, because the next 2 rounds are the key to whether you would be able to stand out. The top 10 in the first round will be rewarded with jade tablets. The information will be sent to the identity jade tablets of the 10 people later, which will be redeemed at the end of the second round. The second round of the continental tournament for hegemony, which is the semi-final, will officially start tomorrow and last for 5 months. During these 5 months, you can use the ample spiritual force in this space to cultivate and raise your strength, or you can directly go snatch identity jade tablets. After 5 months, the identity jade tablet will remind you of the end date, and by then, the top 500, who have the most of all 7 colors of identity jade tablets, will enter the final round. Of course, what I'm talking about isn't just quantity, but also quality. The person with the most cyan, orange, and purple jade tablets would naturally rank high in the second round. As usual, the point system is used, and the rules of the entire competition will be passed through the array into your identity jade tablets. By the way, a reminder, those who advance into the top 10 of the rankings in the semifinals will still have rewards, and they're very generous rewards that will be distributed to you later. I won't say more. I wish you all good results. We will meet again in 5 months. After the middle-aged, white-clothed man finished speaking, he turned around and disappeared from the central square, and the originally quiet square also exploded into chatter in an instant. I decided to upload 2 a day again simply because I personally can't wait to reach the part where LMY and MX interact more. So I want to hurry up and get to those chapters and translate them. I love the pair too much, ha. Don't know how long the 2 chapter a day will last, and it could be irregular, but definitely still expect at least 1 chapter a day. Chapter 253. Act separately. After returning to the inn, the identity jade tablets of Lu Muyen and the others flashed repeatedly, and the competition organizers sent the information one after another through the array. The semifinals this time actually takes 5 months. It seems that we have to improve our strength as soon as possible, Helion Lai said while looking at his jade tablet. After coming into the competition space, in addition to the possibility of being selected by the 6 major sects and winning glory for their empire, there was also one great advantage. The spiritual force here was very abundant, and here was rich in resources. The speed of cultivation in this space was basically twice as fast as outside. So in each competition, there would be a period of time left for sword masters of various kingdoms to cultivate and improve their strength. Who knew that entering the top 10 would be rewarded with purple jade tablets? Not bad. Luo Li flipped through the information and said, Lu Mu Yen set her sights on the awards for the top 10 in the rankings of the semifinals. Unexpectedly, they were all spiritual items of heaven and earth. The power of the organizers of this competition sure were really strong. For the rewards for the top 10, I can only go all out, she said with a smile and put the jade tablet away. Hearing her ambition, the other people's eyelids couldn't help but jump. The second round of the competition wasn't to kill demonic beasts, something that could be easily accomplished by finding beast tides at night time. They had to face more than 1,000 geniuses from the younger generation. You're thinking about entering the top 10 again? The top 10 in the semifinals isn't so easy to get into. Helion Lai shrugged. His goal was to advance into the top 50. Lu Muyin glanced at him. Not promising. Only by daring to think can you dare to do. If you don't even dare to think about it, you might as well just give up directly. The rewards for the top 10 included 2 types of spiritual items that Mo Yen and Xue Xue needed to increase their strength. She must obtain it. Hearing her calm tone saying bold words, the expressions of the others changed, especially Helion Lai. There was an unpleasant feeling in his heart. Lu Mu Yin even dared to think it. Why didn't he dare? So this was the largest gap between them? Shameless bastard. How about we compare who could advance into the top 10 in the semifinals? Last time, he was only ranked 6th because Sinan did him dirty. This time, he must get back at him. Sinan's expression was calm, and he raised an eyebrow slovenly. Sure, you think he'll be afraid of you? The two attacked each other again, and Luo Yi interrupted with a light cough. Are we still going to act together in the semifinals? He was certain that if so many of them set off together, the other teams would definitely run away when they saw them, and they wouldn't be able to snatch many jade tablets at all. What he thought of, the others also thought of, but it was difficult for them to voice it. After all, the ones that would drag them back would mainly be Lu Muyen and Yi Qinghan's teams. Of course, they didn't mean that they disliked them. If Lu Muyen still wanted to act together, they wouldn't object either. Lu Muyen could guess their thoughts and conflicted emotions. She smiled lightly and said, Let's act separately. 1. We can let the enemy relax their vigilance, and 2. We don't have to worry about being unable to divide the snatched jade tablets, because there are too many people. Then how should we split up? Luo Li asked. He and Sinan actually didn't want to be separated from Lu Muyen, but judging from the current situation, it seemed that they couldn't not separate. Well, be with my elder cousin brother and his group, and it would be best for you 4 groups to separate individually. Lu Muyen thought about it, then suggested. Then she added, Of course, you can also join forces to snatch from others. Either way, those who hold jade tablets of the same color can't snatch each other's for the first 4 months. Then let's not separate for the first 4 months, Luo Li said. Lu Muyen rolled her eyes at him. How can we compete for jade tablets if we're with you? Those elite teams of the large kingdoms won't dare to come snatch when they see you. So how can I enter the top 10 then? Luo Li's forehead was deeply creased. So it was like they were dragging her down. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, those elite teams from large kingdoms aren't easy to deal with. You might all be in danger if you act independently. Sinan raised a key problem. Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow. We didn't come into the competition space to hide behind you and take a rank. How can we see a rainbow without experiencing wind and rain? That's not what I meant. It was also mentioned in the information in the jade tablet just now. If anyone steals the jade tablets of the top 10, the rewarded jade tablets will also become theirs. We're afraid that someone will deal with you specifically. Sinan smiled gaudily, but there was a hint of worry on his handsome face. Lu Muyan's strength was indeed good, but she relied too much on arrays. If someone impeded on her forming seals, then she would definitely be in danger. I'm begging for it. I'm precisely afraid that they won't come find me. Lu Muyan took a sip from her teacup confidently. As expected, high-end spiritual tea tasted very fragrant. Last time, she saw this kind of spiritual herb on the list from the pill tower, so she bought some at a high price. Hearing her words, everyone fell speechless. Even they had to admit that she was definitely a troublemaker, causing trouble wherever she went. Their two teams indeed need to experience some life and death situations. It's better to be separated. Luoyi, who had been silent for a while, suddenly spoke up. When one entered the competition space, then one couldn't be greedy for life and be afraid of death. It was necessary to cherish the resources one could enjoy and improve one's strength as soon as possible. If they formed a team together, the danger they would encounter would be reduced a lot, and they wouldn't receive much training. Yi Qinghan was also in favor of separation, not just because of his rivals in love, but also because he wanted to become stronger. Only in times of tension and danger could human potential be realized. We agreed to separate. Seeing that they all said this, Luo Li and Sinan couldn't propose to form a team again either. Then our four groups should also separate. They only got together because of Lu Muyan. Now that Lu Muyan wanted to be separated, they naturally wouldn't think about being tied together. Lu Muyan took out a few bottles of pills from her interspatial ring and tossed it to them. You can all keep these pills for spare use. Let's meet in 5 months. Don't fall too far behind. She then stood up and added. The corners of Sinan's lips twitched. Where did this woman get so much confidence? Don't worry, we'll never let you surpass us. If they let teams from small and medium-sized kingdoms surpass them when they've separated, then how could their 4 elite teams from large kingdoms endure this? Then let's wait and see. Lu Muyan's face was dyed with a brilliant confidence, smiling beautifully. Her confident smile was the most attractive, which resonated in the hearts of Luo Li and the others. Lu Muyan, I hope to see your name in the top 10 of the rankings in 5 months. Luo Li quickly hugged Lu Muyan, then let go. Just a hug and encouragement from a friend. Lu Muyan patted Luo Li on the shoulder. Little wildcat, good luck to you all as well. Let's compete to see which group will have the most people advancing into the top 30. Let's compete then. Luo Li felt his heart tickle, then asked. Are you going to cultivate first or snatch jade tablets? You still need to ask. Definitely cultivate first. Even if you go snatch jade tablets first, you probably won't see many people. True, then you all take care. You all as well. Early the next morning, the group of people divided into 5 teams, leaving the central city, and began their journey in the semifinals. Due to the effects of the Black Iron City wall, the spiritual force inside wasn't as abundant as in the mountains and dense fields outside. Therefore, the sword masters who entered the semifinals all left the city to find a quiet environment to cultivate. Lu Muyan and Yi Qinghan's 2 teams were also looking for a suitable place to cultivate after they left the city. Muyan, what sort of place are we going to find to cultivate in? Yi Qinghan asked curiously when he saw her searching around. Lu Muyan rubbed her chin, and after pondering she said, Find a place with the densest spiritual force. I think I've already found it. Follow me. Without Mo Yen, it was more troublesome for her to use her mental energy to search. Although the spiritual force of the mountains and forests in the outside world were abundant, but it was not as dense as the place where the evil Jiao chased her to last time. After pondering, she felt that it was more suitable for her to take them there to cultivate. There was a lot of spiritual force near the deep pond. There were no high-level demonic beasts around the territory that the octopus monster had occupied for a long time. And that place was also classified as a Class 2 danger zone where the Great Array couldn't monitor. So it was very secretive. In addition, other participating competitors generally wouldn't set foot in a danger zone to cultivate, so it was actually the safest for them to go there. When Lu Muyen brought them to the dense fog forest from before, Yun Zmo said in surprise, "Isn't this that Class 2 danger zone? The most dangerous place is also the safest place. I was chased by the evil Jiao towards a deep pond, the place where the octopus monster, and he fought until they were both defeated, is abundant in spiritual force, and is very suitable for us to hide and cultivate." Lu Muyen smiled and replied, her choices generally weren't wrong, and everyone believed her. "Alright, well, listen to everything you say." So Lu Muyen took the group to the deep pond occupied by the octopus monster. Sure enough, because of the pressure and fear caused by the octopus monster, there were no other demonic beasts appearing in the vicinity. The frozen ice in the deep pond still showed no signs of melting, and Lu Muyen had to sigh with emotion about Ming Xiu's abnormally monstrous strength. For the safety of the two teams, she took out the last set of jade stones she nourished and arranged a 9-palace array. From the outside, no one could detect their auras, and if a human or demonic beast forced their way in, they would also be lost in the array. Afterwards, she buried the set of jade stones needed to arrange the array in a place with the densest spiritual force. "The spiritual force here is indeed much more abundant than outside," Mui said with a smile. Shifeng didn't show much emotion, but his eyes were filled with joy. The territory occupied by a Tier 8 demonic beast will naturally not be bad. There just so happened to be a barren mountain near the deep pond. The group made a cave in the barren mountain and lived there, preparing to speed up their cultivation for 3 months, before exiting to snatch jade tablets. Time passed in a hurry. A month later, Lu Muyen cultivation base advanced to middle phase Sword Monarch, and her foundation establishment stage was also in the late layers. When she reached peak phase Sword Monarch, she believed that her foundation establishment stage would be able to reach the final layer. Because of her special constitution, she could comprehend all the laws of heaven and earth. So even if her cultivation speed was double or triple the speed of others, her advancement speed was affected by it. She used her mental energy to probe into the spirit beast ring, and found that Mo Yen was currently wrapped in a large net of blue flames, and his aura was sometimes strong, sometimes weak. He was probably still refining the octopus monster's demonic spirit. "Owner, after staying in the cave for so long, let's go out and look for some spiritual herbs." Seeing Lu Muyen's cultivation base advancing one phase, Bingji knew she wouldn't continue to cultivate anymore, so he urged. Lu Muyen glanced at him. "I'm really suspicious about how you cultivated your Tier 8 cultivation base. I'm a genuine Tier 8, so of course my talent is exceptional." Bingji raised his head proudly. "With you being so lazy and only wanting to go out for a walk all day long, if you continue like this, Shue Shue and Meow Meow would have advanced to Tier 9, and you'll still be standing in the same spot." Bingji had a very active and lively temperament, and simply couldn't sit still at all. It was already really good for him to have cultivated in the cave for a month. Lu Muyen really couldn't figure out how he used to cultivate to Tier 8. Bingji pursed his lips and muttered quietly, "Isn't it because my demonic energy is sealed by your man? So it's very tiring to cultivate. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, don't find excuses." Lu Muyen reached out and knocked him on the head. "Ming Xiu suppressed the demonic energy in you, so it's difficult for you to cultivate now, but it can make the demonic energy in your body more pure. And when the seal is broken, ITLL have more benefits for you. You'd better cultivate hard, otherwise when Meow Meow and Shue Shue surpass you, they'll watch where you'll place your old face." Lu Muyen knew that this kind of blow would be more effective for Bingji, who loved face. Sure enough, Bingji's small eyes swept over Meow Meow and Shue Shue, as if he had been stimulated. "Owner, they'll continue to go cultivate now. They want to surpass me? No way." He was already suppressed by Mo Yen. If those two things also surpassed him, then how much face would he lose? Lu Muyen rolled her eyes at him. "Let's go out for a walk first, and along the way, get some crystal cores for you to come back to refine. Little owner is the best, then I'll cultivate when I return." Bingji rubbed his head against Lu Muyen's shoulder. "Sycophant," Meow Meow snorted. Shue Shue also agreed with the response. "Crazy flatterer. What do you two children know? Humph." Bingji snorted. Lu Muyen was too lazy to pay attention to them. Seeing that Lu Mu Bai and the others were still meditating and cultivating, she went out alone. There must be something special about this mountain forest for it to be classified as a Class 2 danger zone. There should definitely be no shortage of spiritual herbs and spiritual items. Now that her mental energy had recovered, she would be able to find what she needed with just a bit of effort. After leaving the cave opened in the barren mountain, she gave some maintenance to the array before leaping towards the depths. 5 days later, a purple figure fled in a sorry state, followed by a group of wasp-like demonic beasts the size of fists. Seeing a small stream ahead of her, Lu Muyen jumped down without hesitation. The large group of demonic beasts that looked like wasps were a little afraid of water, and wandered around the stream for a day, before gradually leaving. Lu Muyen surfaced from the water, and looked in the direction in which the demonic beasts left with fiery desire in her eyes. When the competition is almost over, it'll come to subdue you all. Owner, what are doing going to poke a scarlet bee's nest one? Bing Ji was stung a few times causing huge lumps, and complained with a weak look. Naturally to scoop out some scarlet bee honey, that's a good thing. Lu Muyan's expression revealed a bit of interest. And don't you think it'd be super cool to have a bee colony as a spirit pet? If she didn't have flash steps and a load of means to escape, she would have probably died in that scarlet bee nest. Bing Ji rolled his eyes. The thing is good, but you also need to have the life to take it. It wasn't easy to subdue such a swarm of scarlet bees. He felt that Lu Muyen was truly indulging in the wildest fantasy. Although the queen of that scarlet bee colony is only a tier 7 demonic beast, but it could breed countless tier 5 and 6 scarlet bees. Not to mention subdue, it was even difficult to get close to. I know. So isn't it that I'm waiting for until my strength advances a little more before going again? The fieriness in Lu Muyan's eyes didn't subside, but only grew stronger. Seeing the heat in her eyes, Bing Ji couldn't resist twitching the corner of his lips. Owner's hobby was truly weird. Lu Muyen was about to rest for a while, but suddenly turned her gaze towards a place not far away. There's a fight ahead, let's go and take a look. Chapter 255. Saving a beautiful man from evil clutches. Lu Muyen felt the aura of a human sword master and a demonic beast. After a while, the fight ended not far away, and she sped up rushing over. It wasn't that she wanted to take part in the battle. She just wanted to see if she could pick up a bargain and take some jade tablets. When she approached that place, she hid her figure and slowly felt her way over. Crossing a jungle, what entered her eyes was a lake with elegant and beautiful scenery. The trees reflected in the lake, gleaming and glistening clearly. It was just that such a beautiful and tranquil scenery was broken by the few people beside the lake. Ahead of her, a man in red whose face could not be seen clearly laid motionless on the ground, and around him were 5 other men who were also immobile. Most importantly, there was a tall and burly woman with her claws outstretched towards the red-clothed man, and a lecherous look in her eyes. Lu Muyen couldn't resist twitching the corners of her lips, and asked Bing Ji, who was already dumbfounded. That woman is a demonic beast, right? Bing Ji shuddered. She's indeed a tigress. That man is so miserable to be molested like that. Although Lu Muyen couldn't see the man's face clearly, but she could still feel his anger, so she guessed that he was probably calculated by the tigress. Beauty, just let Laonyang one enjoy you well. The burly woman rubbed her hands with a lecherous look on her face. Lu Muyen held her forehead. It sure was the first time she had seen a woman so unrestrained, although she was a demonic beast. I'm afraid that man won't be able to man up again in the future. Bing Ji couldn't bear to look directly, and felt much sympathy for that man. Lu Muyen sure didn't want to watch a live Spring Palace painting too. She originally wanted to leave, but seeing those red clothes that were so similar to Ming Xiu's, she stopped in her steps. Want to eat a crystal core of a tier 7 demonic beast? She raised an eyebrow and looked at Bing Ji. Bing Ji swallowed. Want to eat? Then I'll hand that tigress over to you. Lu Muyen ripped Bing Ji off her shoulder and directly tossed him out. And it's also perfect to hone your combat ability. Don't tell me that a tier 8 demonic beast, like you can't even beat a tier 7 demonic beast. If you can't win, then don't return. Bing Ji flew. And just as he was about to quickly fly away, he heard Lu Muyan's words, so he could only follow the trajectory of owner's toss and fly over. But my demonic energy has been sealed. He didn't want to fight a tigress. What if the tigress took a fancy to him? Lu Muyan's lips curled up and smiled, telepathically saying, "But you're ultimately still a tier 8 demonic beast. If you can't even beat her, you can really go die a bit." The threat in her tone made Bingji shudder. Who? Suddenly, an unknown flying object sprung out, and the burly woman who had already torn apart the red-clothed man's clothes raised her head and said fiercely. Bingji could only toughen his skin and stand firmly in the air with his small head raised and disdain in his eyes. "You, a tigress, really makes us demonic beasts lose face. You even use force against men. Humph, where comes a bitch parrot that dares to butt into Leoniang's business? Oh, Cookie wants him finished here." Obviously, Bingji was only like a weak chicken in the eyes of the burly woman. "Bingji, you really lose face as a divine beast. When you go out in the future, don't say I'm your owner." Lu Muyan's telepathic words added fuel to the fire. Meow Meow said, "That stinky bird is a good-for-nothing. Owner, don't expect him to be able to deal with that tigress." "That's right, maybe he'll really be cooked by the tigress." Shui also joined in the fun. Bingji's old face flushed red. He was deeply belittled by his teammate just like this. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks Humph, you tigress, don't you dare continue to bullying this male beauty. Bingji was dealt a great blow by them, and manifested that into anger as he turned into his true form. A brilliant and beautiful ice swan appeared in midair. The eyes of the burly woman who originally didn't care suddenly lit up. Divine beast. Then she immediately smacked her lips with pity. But a pity that you can't transform into a human. Go to the side to play. Don't hinder me from enjoying the male beauty. You shameless tigress. Watch this little master punish the wicked and eliminate evil. Bingji didn't want to be looked down upon by Meow Meow and Shui Shui. He wanted to be the second boss. So with a wave of his wings, countless icicles immediately attacked the woman. The burly woman was in a very bad mood, having her interests being dampened. She raised her head and roared, then waved her fists directly to meet the countless icicles. The icicles were broken inch by the woman's air-shattering fist with demonic energy, then finally disappeared into powder. Bingji narrowed his eyes. This tigress sure had some skills. Bingji, go lure her somewhere else to fight. Lu Muyan said telepathically. If you win, I'll refine a grade 4 pill for you to take. Bingji was originally reluctant, but when he heard the grade 4 pill, it was as if he was suddenly given a stimulant and cursed the woman a load. You tigress is old and ugly and I'm going to tear you apart. Bingji's blows obviously angered the tigress. Bingji said pay, with a slovenly attitude, then spread his wings and flew towards the opposite side of the lake. The woman turned her head and transformed into a giant yellow mystic-striped tiger, and chased after him. Lu Muyan climbed out of the bushes and blinked, muttering to herself. She's really a tigress 3. She could feel that the other party was a tier 7 demonic beast, but she couldn't tell what her original form was. Seeing the woman transform into her original form of a mystic-striped tiger, she couldn't resist feeling sympathy for the red-clothed man. Since his red clothes reminded her of Ming Xiu, she decided to save him from the clutches of the tigress. Seeing that Bingji and the tigress had long since disappeared, she quickly walked towards the red-clothed man, and squatted down to see why they couldn't move. What entered her eyes was a handsome face that was even more androgynous than Nan with a devilish aura mixed in. The gorgeous red brocade clothes tightly wrapped his sturdy but not burly body. The neckline was torn open by the previous woman, and the scenery inside was looming. A pair of seductive amorous peach-shaped eyes were beneath his stylish sharp brows, and his half-open pink lips beneath his tall nose were extremely sexy. At this time, his face was pale, and his eyes were scarlet, probably because he was awfully angered that he was almost indecently assaulted just now. Lu Muyan rolled her eyes inwardly. He was indeed a beauty. No wonder that tigress was so impatient. However, she had seen countless beautiful men, and those she befriended were also mostly beautiful men. She was only astonished at first sight, but curbed her emotions. Although this man was devilishly handsome and charming, but he was still inferior to Ming Xiao. She saw that the man looked at her with surprise and slight embarrassment. A shallow smile appeared on her lips. "I'll see if you all can still be saved." Knowing that the man couldn't speak, she placed her hand on his wrist to feel his pulse. She thought it was just poisoning, but who knew that this man was actually ill? No wonder he was subdued by the tigress with his strength. His illness probably acted up. "It'll cure your poison first, but this pill isn't given to you for free. You'll have to pay me after you regain your freedom." Lu Muyen took out a white porcelain bottle and poured out a pill before shaking it in front of the man and saying. The man blinked his peach blossom-shaped eyes to indicate that he could. Lu Muyen squeezed his chin and fed him one. Then walked to the other people and fed them a grade 3 spiritual cleansing pill. It only took a few breaths of time for the poison that the tigress used on them to be cured. Pu. The moment the man's poison was cured, he couldn't resist spitting out a mouthful of blood. One Laonyang is an equivalent to lousy, and also an arrogant way of self-address. But for females, it literally translates to mother and father respectively, and also can be translated into your old mother and your old father when used for self-address. But it would sound weird said in certain circumstances, so I'm leaving it as its pinyin. 2. It is euphemism for paintings of bedtime activities between a married couple. 3. The word tigress is often used to describe strong, fierce women, often in a negative way. In this case, a pun exists as the demonic beast is literally a female tiger. Chapter 256. Heart disease. Lu Muyen turned around and saw the red-clothed man spitting out a mouthful of blood. He closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, the emotions in his eyes were curbed. He was pale and in a bit of pain, then took out a silk handkerchief and wiped the blood on his lips. Then he looked up at Lu Muyen and managed a smile. "Thank you, Miss Lu, for today." Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow. "You know me?" Who does not know young Miss Lu and Chu Han's name now? The dark horses that advanced into the top 5 will naturally attract special attention. Yan Jun didn't expect that his sorry state would be seen by this woman. But seeing that she had saved him, the killing intent in his heart was gradually suppressed. "What's your name?" Lu Muyen felt that this man's aura was a little familiar, so she should have encountered him before. But she didn't have much of an impression. Yan Jun sat up laboriously, coughed sharply for a bit, then said slowly, "Yan Jun. So it turns out that you're Yan Jun who ranked second in the preliminary round." A cunning light flashed past Lu Muyen's eyes. Yan Jun came from the Yan clan of a superpower kingdom, one of the top smithing clans on Tianling continent. His position was nobler than that of a prince of an empire, and he was unfathomable himself. This was information she obtained from Si Nan and Luoli when they mentioned Yan Jun. "Please do excuse me." Yan Jun's pale face was covered in blue and purple, and his breathing was a little short. He hurriedly took out a pill and swallowed it, and only then did his breathing gradually stabilize. "Your pill for treating your heart disease cures the symptoms, but not the root cause." Lu Muyen looked at Yan Jun with deep eyes. Yan Jun raised his head sharply to look at Lu Muyen and asked weakly, "You're a physician?" "In a way." Lu Muyen nodded. There were physicians and alchemists on this continent. Physicians mainly focused on curing diseases, but they couldn't refine pills. Alchemists mainly focused on refining pills, but weren't as good at saving people, so the two complemented each other. Physicians were also divided into grades. There were many low-grade physicians on this continent, and basically every clan had a physician, but there were very few physicians grade 3 and above. They were the targets of many major forces to compete for and win over. After all, sword masters would also have hidden illnesses, and they could also encounter poisoning and sudden sickness, so they needed physicians to treat them. Of course, there were also people who were both alchemists and physicians, but they were even rarer, such as herself. After Yan Jun took the pill, the blue-purple color on his face gradually faded, and after a while, he looked at her and said, "Did you know that I have a heart disease because you took my pulse?" The fact that he had a heart disease was not a big secret among the superiors of the clan. After all, his father, as the patriarch, often invited high-grade physicians home to treat him. But Lu Muyen, who came from a small kingdom, couldn't possibly know these secrets. This woman always gave a sense of mystery. Maybe she really was a physician. Of course, your heart disease is from birth and caused by your mother taking some kind of medicinal product when she was pregnant. Lu Muyan's face revealed a rare seriousness. Yan Jun revealed surprise, pressed his lips together and said, I didn't expect Miss Lao's medical skills to be so brilliant. Miss, can you heal our young lord? Suddenly, an ordinary-looking man behind Yan Jun asked eagerly, Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Yan Jun never thought that Lu Muyan could cure his chronic illness. After all, even grade 4 physicians were helpless, so how could she, a teenage girl, cure him? But hearing his teammates' question, he couldn't help but feel hope in his heart. Even if it was very small, he didn't want to give up. Lu Muyan considered the advantages and disadvantages of treating Yan Jun, and she found that it wasn't bad to let this man with a deep background owe her a big favor. Before she left, Yanzhou Kingdom just gave her a feeling that a storm was about to arrive. If she recruited a few more talented elites from superpower kingdoms who were highly valued, it would definitely be beneficial for the safety of the Lu clan. Actually, it's not difficult to cure your heart disease. Lu Muyan said truthfully. Luoyes blindness needed to be cured by finding several very rare spiritual herbs to create eye drops, paired with golden needles. Meanwhile, Yan Jun's heart disease could be cured by just using the repairing green mist in her dantian, paired with golden needles. It wouldn't take too long either. Yan Jun's heart disease was carried from his mother's womb, and the main reason was actually due to the use of a medicinal product that caused his heart to be unable to withstand the baptism of elemental energy. If he were a normal person or a low-level sword master, it wouldn't trigger a severe heart disease. But as long as he cultivated above Sword King, his heart's defects would be exposed. The higher the cultivation base, the greater the chance of him getting sick. If he couldn't control it and repair his heart, then when he reached Sword Venerable cultivation base, he might even lose his life. Yan Jun didn't believe her words inwardly, but he didn't reveal it in his expressions. He narrowed his seductive peach blossom-shaped eyes and asked with a smile, Young Miss Lu, can you tell me my symptoms? No one else knew about his symptoms when his illness breaks out, and he never told others either. He sure wanted to see if she really was capable or not. When your cultivation base had yet to reach Sword King, the disease would occur at most once a year. Each time, you would feel your heart beat fast and some pain. When your cultivation base reached Sword King, the frequency of the attacks would increase to once every 3 months, and the pain also turned into a sharp pain. Lu Muyan looked at him with a smile, yet not quite a smile, and continued. As your cultivation base continues to grow, the number of times the illness has acted up has also increased. Judging from your current appearance, your illness should act up once or twice every month. Especially in 2 or 3 days after a battle, you're bound to experience a pain that's worse than death. Seeing Yan Jun's beautiful eyes and pupils constrict, she added, Every time your disease acts up, you have difficulty breathing, your whole body will be weak, your elemental energy can't operate in your body, and your face will gradually turn blue and purple. If you don't take the pill to control your illness, you will go into brief shock. Most importantly, you will actually be relieved of your pain, but it will take a few days to recover to your usual after each onset. Lu Muyan raised an eyebrow. I wonder if what I said is accurate. Yan Jun's expression didn't change, his eyes were calm, but his tightly clasped hands beneath his sleeves revealed his unsettled heart. Young Miss Lu is completely right. It would be a lie to say he wasn't shocked. Even the grade 4 physician, who treated him, couldn't describe his symptoms so accurately. At this time, he couldn't help but believe that she really knew what she was doing. Why do you fight so hard? Don't you know that the higher your cultivation base, the more serious your heart disease will be? When you reach Sword Venerable, maybe it might even be the end of your time. Lu Muyan said bluntly. Yan Jun revealed a wry, bitter smile. There are some things where I can't choose what I want. Lu Muyan didn't ask much. She knew the battles in large clans were very complicated, and even pulling one hair would move the entire body. Yan Jun knew the danger, but still continued to cultivate desperately. He naturally had his own reasons. True. In addition to the resources and status given by one's identity and background, there was also responsibility and freedom to give up. Lu Muyen nodded in understanding. Yan Jun's eyes revealed a bit of strangeness. He obviously didn't expect Lu Muyen to say such profound words. After all, judging from the information he obtained, her Lu clan was only a small clan, and the Lu family loved her very much since she was a child. She shouldn't understand the intrigue of those large clans. Then what young Miss Lu means is that you can cure my heart disease. This was what he cared most about. One meaning that doing something minor might cause a huge ripple effect of sorts. Chapter 257. Payment. Then what young Miss Lu means is that you can cure my heart disease? Lu Muyen said with a light smile. Naturally I can. If you have any conditions you can say it. Yan Jun's amorous eyes contained a firm look. Even if there was only a 1% chance, he didn't want to let it go. Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow. Are you that certain it'll help to treat it? Since you yourself admitted that you can cure it, then you must have already made a decision. It now only depends on whether the things I give you can make your heart move. Yan Jun was a smart person, so he dared to conclude that Lu Muyen would help him with the treatment. You sure know how to take an opportunity. Lu Muyen chuckled. Before we discuss the treatment of your heart disease, shouldn't we talk about the payment for rescuing you from the tigress just now? At the mention of that tigress, Yan Jun's face instantly turned dark. This was a stain in his life. If it weren't for Lu Muyen just now, although he still had a trump card to not be forced by the demonic beast, but the price he had to pay would be very high. What kind of payment do you want? Lu Muyen already asked for a reward before removing the poison for them. At the time, he already promised, so he naturally wouldn't go back on his promises. Not to mention that he also counted on her to treat his illness, although he had little hope. Just give spiritual stones. Lu Muyen said generously. The spiritual stones on her were pitifully few. She heard that the auction in the central city would be held in 3 months, so she should at least prepare some spiritual stones. Yan Jun's eyes were dyed with a slight smile. Just spiritual stones? Such a requirement was indeed a little low. I want spiritual stones. How much do you think you should give? Lu Muyen nodded. Yan Jun thought about it and said, how about giving you 10,000 low-quality spiritual stones? 4 sword masters below sword venerable. 10,000 spiritual stones could already be regarded as huge wealth. Sure. Lu Muyen felt that the payment given by Yan Jun was still quite high. After all, Mutong only spent 2,000 spiritual stones to buy that black crystal diamond, and felt so pained. This was the gap between elite pupils of superpower kingdom clans. Then can we talk about the treatment now? Yan Jun said with a smile, although his face was still pale, but he couldn't hide his devilish aura. Mingxiu also occasionally revealed a devilish charm, but he and Yan Jun were 2 completely different types of people, and their temperaments were very different. Sure, it's just treatment of a heart disease, trivial. For her, it really was trivial to treat diseases that could be cured without needing to refine pills with spiritual herbs. But her words changed flavor in Yan Jun and the others' ears. The expression of the man, who had requested of Lu Muyen, changed, and couldn't help but regret, wondering if he was too reckless just now to even believe that a teenage girl could cure young lord. The corner of Yan Jun's lips twitched. Why did Lu Muyen's tone sound as if she needed a beating? The hope that rose from the bottom of his heart was also about to dissipate. For a disease that even a grade 4 physician couldn't cure, she, a nobody physician, was probably only strong with her words. Then it'll trouble Miss Lu. I wonder what I should prepare. Yan Jun thought about it, and still prepared to give it a try. There wouldn't be any loss anyway. And he had a good impression of Lu Muyen. Lu Muyen could see that they didn't believe her, but she didn't bother explaining. She had always been a proactive person. You don't need to prepare anything. It's enough for me to prepare. Lu Muyen's expression was light. The suspicion and disappointment in Yan Jun's heart were even stronger, but he still asked with a smile. Then I wonder what kind of payment Miss Lu wants? So that I can prepare. How much do you think your life is worth? I just want some spiritual stones and a personal favor. Although Lu Mu Yen was somewhat interested in the magic tools refined by the Yen clan, but right now, spiritual stones were more useful to her. The color in Yen Jun's eyes changed, then the corner of his lips raised. Sure. If you can really cure my heart disease, I will pay you 100,000 low-quality spiritual stones, and a personal favor within my power. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks 100,000 spiritual stones was also a huge expense for him. But it was within the range he could bear. It merely meant that the cultivation resources for the next few years were used in advance. If it could be exchanged for his recovery, then it was worth it. Refreshing. Then that's settled. Lu Mu Yan's eyes narrowed into a crescent shape with her smile, indicating that she was in a pretty good mood. Yen Jun really deserved to be the young lord of the top clan in a superpower kingdom. One move, and it was 100,000 spiritual stones. It was likely that there weren't so many spiritual stones, even shared between many clans. Do you want a contract? I don't have a contract text on me, but I can buy it in the central city. Yen Jun asked with a smile. A contract text was a kind of contract stone, refined by an array master. After the text was engraved, both parties would sign it with blood. If there was any violation, they would be punished by the laws of heaven and earth. No need. It's troublesome going back and forth. Since I dared to come to save you, then I naturally trust you. Lu Mu Yen wasn't afraid that Yen Jun wouldn't pay up. She was both a physician and an alchemist. If Yen Jun was cured, the other party would only want to win her over, and wouldn't go back on his words, just for 100,000 spiritual stones. Nor would he get rid of her. After wandering around in the immortal cultivation world for so long, she could still read people very accurately. Yen Jun's face revealed slight joy. The feeling of being believed in was indeed pretty good. All right. Then I wonder when we will start the treatment. How long will it take? Any time. Around 3 days. Lu Mu Yen set a conservative time frame. In fact, with the powerful repairing ability of the green mist in her dantian, Yen Jun's heart could be repaired in 1 day. But in order to not be so amazing, she decided to treat it in 3 days. After listening to her words, everyone didn't feel happy at all, but instead disappointed. An illness that even a grade 4 alchemist couldn't cure. She only needed 3 days, and she didn't need to prepare other things. Go lie to a ghost. Young Miss Lu, you aren't joking with us, are you? One of them couldn't resist but say. Lu Mu Yen could understand their disbelief, but she didn't like others questioning her. Her smile sank and she snorted coldly. Treat or don't treat, suit yourself. After she finished speaking, she turned around and prepared to go see if the stinky bird Bingji had settled the tigress or not. Her spirit pet better not have been tainted by that tigress, simply in order to rescue a stranger. Seeing her angry, turn around and leave, Yen Jun's eyelids jumped. This woman really couldn't be offended. The man who questioned Lu Mu Yen had a very ugly expression, and he didn't know what to say either. Even if he really didn't believe that she could save him. But he couldn't resist, but want to give it a try. Otherwise he'll feel unreconciled. Their young lord was a soul-like being of their lineage. If he had an accident, they wouldn't have any way to survive in the future either. Young Miss Lu, why be angry? My teammates only said rude words, because they were worried about my condition. I apologized to you instead of him. He endured it for that sliver of hope. The face of the person who spoke revealed some embarrassment, and was touched. He decided to be loyal to Yen Jun even more. He also secretly decided that if Lu Mu Yen could treat young lord, he would thank her even if he had to be a cow, or a horse one for her. If she couldn't treat him, then he definitely wouldn't give her any good fruit to eat too. Lu Mu Yen turned around and looked at Yen Jun, who had a calm expression, but was holding back. A smile rose on her face. Able to be flexible, what a person you are. When my spirit pet returns, the treatment can begin. Yen Jun looked at her in surprise and asked, You meant to say that you can treat me in just a little while? Of course. One, an idiom meaning that he would do anything. Two, a saying meaning that they wouldn't treat her well, and may even do her bad. Chapter 258. Treat heart disease. Lu Mu Yen had been observing the movements of Bing Ji with her mental energy. although she believed in his ability, but she was also afraid of any accidents. Bingji usually acted pretty silly, would be rather slovenly from time to time, and would also be lazy while cultivating. But because he was the descendant of the Siamwan divine beast with a pure bloodline and exceptional strength, his own abilities and innate talents weren't average. Sure enough, after a while, a big Siam blue Icewan bird returned with a yellow and white mystic striped tiger. Owner, I'm back. As soon as Bingji flew to the lake, he tossed the corpse of the mystic striped tiger on the ground, his eyes glistening brightly to ask for credit. Lu Muyen took out a bottle of grade 3 pills and tossed a few over. You did a good job. Bingji swallowed the pills in his mouth in only a bit, but still looked like he was unsatisfied, and thought about the grade 4 pill that owner said she would refine. The behavior of the one human and one beast stunned Yenjun and the others. Young Miss Lu, are you giving grade 3 pills to your spirit pet to eat? As soon as Yenjun saw Lu Muyen pour out the pills, he smelt the fragrance, and it was definitely grade 3 pills. Lu Muyen said unconcerned. Yeah, what's wrong? Since she was able to refine a variety of grade 3 pills, she had no more grade 2 pills. After her cultivation base entered initial phase Sword Monarch, the fire elemental energy she condensed could already be used to refine grade 4 pills. Yenjun and the others couldn't resist, but twitched the corners of their lips. He said with a smile, "Could you allow this one to take a look at the pills? I'll just gift you a few. Take it as a gift for your 100,000 spiritual stones." Lu Muyen took out a bottle of spiritual energy recovery pills and a bottle of elemental energy nurturing pills, and threw them other. Yenjun caught the bottle and poured out the 2 types of pills contained within it. One was pure white, while the other was a full and clear light yellow. He placed it close to his nose and sniffed it, then his eyes revealed surprise. These pills are like the force nourishing pill and elemental condensing pill, but it also feels a little different. A bit of admiration flashed across Lu Muyen's beautiful eyes. These 2 pills have similar effects to the force nourishing pill and elemental condensing pill. However, my spiritual energy recovery pill can be used by sword masters at Sword Monarch cultivation base, where, using only one, it can restore at least 2/3 of elemental energy, and the elemental energy nurturing pill can not only improve one's cultivation base, but also nourish one's elemental energy and consolidate one's origins. The efficacy of these 2 pills is better than that of the pill tower's force nourishing pill and elemental condensing pill. As an elite pupil of a large clan, Yenjun could naturally distinguish the grade of pills at a glance. The 4 pills that Lu Muyen took out were all top-quality grade 3 pills, and even a grade 4 alchemist might not be able to refine such high-quality pills. He was curious, but it wasn't good to ask more. That's natural. The elemental condensing pill of the pill tower can improve cultivation base, but can't nourish one's elemental energy and consolidate one's origins, while my elemental energy nurturing pill could even stabilize one's cultivation base on top of the effects of the elemental condensing pill. Lu Muyen paused, then said, "And the elemental energy nurturing pill can make the elemental energy even purer, but it doesn't need to be taken long-term. About 10 pills is enough to be effective. It actually has such an effect." Yenjun was dubious inwardly, but judging from the fragrance, quality, and grades, they indeed surpassed the force-nourishing pill and the elemental condensing pill of the pill tower. Lu Muyen chuckled and raised an eyebrow slightly. "If you don't believe me, you can try one now. Either way, most of the elemental energy in your body has been depleted. I guarantee you will recover after taking 1 pill." Yenjun couldn't resist twitching the corners of his lips again. It wasn't as if he had a problem to take this kind of pill that could instantly replenish his elemental energy now. Such pills were a means of saving his life. That's not necessary. Let's wait for a critical time in the future to use it. Whatever you like. After speaking, Lu Muyen swept the surrounding environment, then pointed to the direction where Bingji chased after the tigress and said, "I'll treat you now. I'm afraid that if I'm out for too long, the others will be worried." Then she put away the corpse of the mystic striped tiger on the ground. This was Bingji's trophy. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Seeing her confident look, Yan Jun pressed his lips together, then said, "All right." Since he agreed to her treatment, then he might as well give it a try. Even if he couldn't be cured, he wouldn't find trouble for her for the sake of these pills. The people found the tigress cave in the dense forest by the lake. Lu Muyin looked around and found some spars and a few golden iron tree leaves. She put them away, filled with smiles, in front of Yan Jun and the others. Golden iron tree leaves were good things, and was rare even in the immortal cultivation world. Who knew where the tigress obtained it from? Yan Jun and the others didn't intervene either. After all, the tigress was killed by Lu Muyan's spirit pet. They naturally wouldn't take it by force. Moreover, the Tier 6 Ice Luan divine beast could even kill a Tier 7 demonic beast, which also made them very cautious. Lu Muyan was rather satisfied with the tigress cave, but she just didn't like the smell of a tiger. She took out a pink medicinal pellet, squashed it gently, and a faint fragrance wafted out. After a while, the stinky smell in the cave disappeared. Seeing that she took out pills and medicinal pellets with such familiarity, the several people believed that she knew some medical skills, but it was unknown whether she was indeed as powerful as she said she was. An array was arranged outside the cave. Then Lu Muyan said to Yan Jun, "Take off your clothes." Cough cough. Hearing her suddenly tell him to take off his clothes so confidently, embarrassment rose on his face. Is this necessary for the treatment? If he didn't know that she was going to treat him, he would have thought she was going to mimic the tigress and molest him. Lu Muyan rolled her eyes. Obviously, with just your skinny body, it can't even enter this Miss eyes. Yan Jun didn't know whether to cry or laugh. Wasn't his figure very standard? Where was he skinny? Yan Jun's 5 teammates couldn't resist, and they held back their laughter. This woman named Lu Muyan was really interesting. Because of the need for treatment, although Yan Jun felt embarrassed, but he still took off his shirt to reveal his sturdy upper body. Lu Muyan sat behind him, stretched out her hand and poked it casually. Who knew that you look skinny? But you have some material after taking it off. Yan Jun's face darkened. Was he being teased? Miss Lu, let's begin. There was a trace of suppressed anger in his voice. Lu Muyan's lips raised into an arc. She precisely wanted to arouse Yan Jun's slight anger, which would be more helpful for her to pinpoint the defect in his heart. Her little face grew serious in an instant. She formed a few Taoist seals and inserted them into Yan Jun's body one by one. Took out a pill for him to take, then used her golden needles to find the acupuncture points and stabbed in. When the golden needles formed a shape similar to the 8 trigrams, she stretched out her hands and gently stroked the back of the needles. A little bit of spiritual energy flowed out from her palm, and the spiritual energy containing the green mist was channeled into Yan Jun's body through the golden needles. For hours later, the tip of her nose and forehead were covered with a layer of fine sweat, and Yan Jun's pale face became much rosier. When Lu Muyan treated him, it wasn't as painful as he imagined. Instead, a warm spiritual energy baptized his heart over and over again, making him feel extremely comfortable. Lu Muyan took out a spiritual energy recovery pill and took it. We'll finish here for today. Take care of yourself a little, and we'll continue tomorrow. Seeing that she took a spiritual energy recovery pill even in such a situation, the several people couldn't resist but scold inwardly. How prodigal! What a prodigal woman! Chapter 259. Oh, the personal favor. For now, on the 3rd day, Lu Muyan closed her eyes and used the spiritual energy with the green mist to repair the defect in Yan Jun's heart. In the past 2 days, she had nourished his heart, precisely to prepare for repair. I'm going to start repairing your heart next. You have to endure it no matter how painful. Lu Muyan said before beginning. Yan Jun nodded. Don't worry, I can bear it. After Lu Muyan reminded him, she said no more. She applied the golden needles first to make his blood flow backwards, and the pressure on his heart continued to expand. Yan Jun's body trembled, and the expanding pain from the backward flow of blood in his vessels made him grit his teeth tightly. This kind of pain was indeed more painful than before, but as long as his heart disease could be cured, he wouldn't give up. Not long after, Yen Jun's red clothes were wet with sweat, and his face flushed abnormally. Fortunately, his other team members were kicked out by Lu Muyen before she applied the needles. Otherwise, seeing Yen Jun's appearance right now, they would definitely feel that she was acting recklessly. Yen Jun was in unbearable pain, and his whole body trembled, but with his firm perseverance, he still gritted his teeth and endured. When the heart swelled to a certain size, it stopped automatically. Lu Muyen probed with her mental energy to find the defect, then immediately injected the green mist into his body, circulating and repairing around the heart continuously. Her hands weren't idle, either, as she continuously changed the positions of the golden needles to cooperate with the green mist to repair. Most of the spiritual energy in her body was used, and she took time to pour a spiritual energy recovery pill into her mouth, then continued to heal. Time passed bit by bit, and after 10 hours, the backward flow of blood returned to normal. The flushing on Yen Jun's face gradually faded, and his complexion returned to the ruddiness of a normal person. The swollen heart shrunk back to its original size little by little, but with a little observation, one could see that the missing part of the heart had been filled in, and a layer of faint green energy surrounded it, nourishing the beating heart. Lu Muyen pulled out the last golden needle, and only after she finished her work did she realize that her whole body was also wet with sweat. She sighed inwardly. It seemed that this method was still very labor-intensive, but as long as she entered the core formation stage, she would be able to relax a lot more. She still couldn't wait to improve her cultivation base. After taking a pill, she sat cross-legged to recover her spiritual energy and physical strength. Yen Jun opened his tightly closed eyes, filled with extreme delight. He performed a few macrocosmic orbits around his body with his elemental energy, and found that his heart was no longer weak and in pain, as if it couldn't bear the energy. He knew that he was no doubt a normal person now. Your heart has only just been repaired. In the next 3 days, it's best to not use too much elemental energy. Lu Muyen noticed that Yen Jun was running his elemental energy in his body, and furrowed her brows, reminding. This man normally looked rather composed. How could he not understand this sort of common sense? Yen Jun suffered from having a fragile heart since he was a child, so he couldn't help but be overjoyed when he was suddenly cured. Hearing Lu Muyen's reminder, he immediately retrieved his elemental energy. Thank you for your reminder. I lost my composure just now. Lu Muyen ignored it, and sat quietly to recover. Yen Jun stood up and moved his muscles and bones, then looked at her gently, and walked out of the cave alone. The moment Yen Jun exited, the several people waiting outside the cave quickly surrounded him. Young lord, how was it? Yen Jun's face was filled with rosiness, but his inner excitement calmed down a lot. My heart disease has been cured. What? Fantastic. The man who had asked Lu Muyen for help had an excited look on his face. I didn't expect that woman to have such skills. They were actually prepared for the treatment to fail, while they waited outside the cave. Such a surprise was indeed truly fantastic. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Yen Jun's thin lips rose into a smile. She is indeed quite surprising. Not only was she surprising, but she also hid her abilities well. He suspected that the grade 3 pills that Lu Muyen didn't even care about were refined by herself. Young lord, what should we do next? One of them asked. Yen Jun stroked his chest, where the position of his heart was, and his face revealed a rare tranquility. Wait for her to rest before making plans. She is worthy of the Yin clan's friendship. Simply based on her attainments in arrays and as a physician, it is indeed the best choice to befriend her. A young man who spoke few words among the 5 said, I understand. The next day, Lu Muyen opened her eyes and stood up, then walked out of the cave. Young Miss Lu, how have you recovered? Yen Jun had been outside the cave the entire time. When he saw her come out, he revealed a smile, and his androgynous, handsome, and devilish face even set off the surrounding flowers as dim and colorless. Lu Muyen smiled lightly and said, I've recovered pretty well. Is there anything unusual about your body? No. I feel that after my heart was healed, I feel much more relaxed completely. The bottleneck that he had suppressed for a long time had also begun to loosen, and he believed that he would be able to break through to Sword Sovereign in another month or two. Then that's good. Yan Jun walked to Lu Muyen and handed her an interspatial bag. I only have 50,000 spiritual stones with me right now. I'll pay you the remaining 50,000 when I leave this competition space. Sure. Lu Muyen took the spiritual stones without being humble. This Yan Jun really was rolling in money. Young Miss Lu, I still owe you a personal favor. Do you want to use it now? Yan Jun leaned against the cave wall languidly with a lazy expression. Lu Muyen smiled and said, "Oh, the personal favor for now. I don't need it right now." She had a feeling that she might be able to use Yan Jun's favor soon, after she leaves the competition space. Later, facts also proved that her sixth sense was indeed rather accurate. Sure. Just come to Yanlai Empire to find me when you need it. Yan Jun also hoped that he would owe Lu Muyen this favor a little longer, so that he could have more time to develop a good relationship with her. Anything else for you? If not, I'm leaving. She had been out for a few days already, and she wondered if Lu Mubai and the others would be worried if they found out. Yan Jun pondered and said with a smile, "We're going to find a secret place to cultivate. I wonder if young Miss Lu has any good suggestions?" None. Lu Muyen answered decisively. She didn't want to go with the elite pupils of these superpower kingdoms at all. It would be very troublesome to snatch jade tablets with them. Yan Jun touched his nose. It seemed that he was disliked. It sure was the first time that a woman would refuse his closeness. Lu Muyen was indeed a special woman. Then let's look for it ourselves. He didn't force it either, but he said as if remembering something. Young Miss Lu, can you sell us some of the spiritual recovery pills and the elemental nurturing pills you have? What are you buying it with? She didn't forget that the man said that he had given her all the spiritual stones he had. A few magic tools appeared in Yan Jun's hand. How about using a saint tool to trade? Lu Muyen swept the magic tools in his hand with her gaze. They were all initial phase saint tools, and the attack types weren't too strong. Finally, her eyes fell on a small bell. Is this bell a defense type saint tool? Indeed. In fact, it can defend and attack. This bell can release a soul attack against a same-stage sword master for 3 breaths of time. If it is used well, it will be very useful in battle. It's the saint tool I'm most satisfied with among these saint tools. Yan Jun smiled softly. Lu Muyen saw that he looked at these saint tools as if looking at his own children. And she knew in her heart that these saint tools were refined by him. He was truly worthy to be the young lord of a first-rate smithing clan. Chapter 260. The Inexhaustible Resource Treasury. Lu Muyen took Yan Jun's little bell in her hand and played with it. She found that an array was added to it. So it turned out that the so-called soul attack was caused by the array. She discovered that Tianling continent used arrays in many areas, and it was even more perfected than the immortal cultivation world. Even if there were very few array masters here. You're also an array master? Lu Muyen shook the bell and looked at Yan Jun with a smile that wasn't quite a smile. Yan Jun knew that she wasn't interested in the other magic tools, so he put them away. I know a little. Mo Ling is the master of arrays. This soul-attacking array being integrated into this defense-type bell sure is interesting. She said with a light smile. You know how to refine tools? Yan Jun asked in surprise. Lu Muyen shook her head. Only know the surface of things. How about this saint tool? To exchange for your pills? Yan Jun asked with a smile. It's all right. How much do you want to trade it for? This little bell wasn't very useful to her, but it could be given to her elder brother as a defense-type magic tool. Yan Jun thought about it and said, how about 5 of the spiritual recovery pills and the elemental nurturing pill each? The value of magic tools and pills varied from person to person, and it wasn't a loss to exchange 10 grade 3 pills for a defense-type saint tool that could also attack. Deal. Lu Muyen took out 2 white porcelain bottles and tossed them to Yan Jun. She had refined a lot of pills earlier. Seeing her so straightforward, Yan Jun couldn't resist but ask, Young Miss Lu, just how many grade 3 pills did you refine? This sentence also implied a slight test. If Lu Muyen answered directly, then it meant that these pills were indeed refined by her. Have I told you that I refine these pills? After I give you 10 pills, I don't have much left either. Lu Muyan shrugged and said casually. Yen Jun wanted to trick her for her words, but as if she would be fooled. Then that's really a pity. Yen Jun hooked his lips into a devilish smile. Young Miss Lu can find me if you want to exchange pills for spiritual stones or magic tools whenever in the future. Our Yin clan still has this resource. Sure. Then I'll go first. See you in the finals. Lu Muyan said as she looked at the color of the sky. When Yen Jun still had a heart disease, he could still advance to second place in the preliminary round. Now that his heart disease had been cured, then after advancing to Sword Sovereign in the next month or two, there was no suspense at all whether he would enter the finals or not. Alright, when the finals are over, I'll go back to the Empire and give you the remaining spiritual stones. Seeing that Lu Muyan was so confident, Yen Jun knew that she had the means, and it wasn't difficult for her to advance into the finals. It's a promise. I'll take my leave. Lu Muyan chuckled lightly, then disappeared at the entrance of the cave after using flash steps. Seeing her leave, the mature and composed man behind Yen Jun said, "She seems to be so sure that she can advance into the finals. It's not that easy to compete for the purple jade tablets." Yeah, as far as I know, many people had set their minds on her and Chu Han. After all, they were also rewarded with purple jade tablets after entering the top 10. Another man said. Yen Jun hooked his lips into a wicked smile. Maybe she would rather they come to snatch hers. We'll just have to wait and watch a good show. Lu Muyan, this woman, hit herself very deeply that even he couldn't understand her. He sure was looking forward to meeting her in the finals. He believed she would definitely give people constant surprises. Hopefully, because Lu Muyan cured Yen Jun, the others had a better impression of her. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. When Lu Muyan returned to the cave, Lu Mubai and the several others all withdrew from cultivation, and was relieved to see her return. Yenner, this is a Class 2 danger zone. If you go out and run around and encounter a Tier 7 demonic beast, then it'll be dangerous. Lu Mubai said with slight worry. With a thought, the Tier 7 mystic striped tiger appeared in the cave. Elder brother, I've already encountered a Tier 7 demonic beast. This is its corpse, so you don't have to worry about me. The several people were stunned when they saw the Tier 7 demonic beast that had no aura on the ground. Lu Muyan could actually kill a Tier 7 demonic beast. This kind of progress was beyond their reach. After more than a month of cultivation, Yi Qinghan had already integrated the Yi clan's secret skill and broken through to Sword Sovereign. He stared at the demonic beast on the ground with an obscure gaze, not feeling the best. He just thought that he was able to protect her, but she still surpassed him. He took a deep breath. He still needed to work hard. The results of your cultivations in this period of time sure is good. You've all made breakthroughs. Lu Muyan swept the few people with her gaze and said with a smile. Yun Zimo's cold and stiff face softened a lot, with gratitude in his tone. It's all because the effects of your pills were good. That's why we can advance so quickly. Lu Muyan gave them 10 elemental nurturing pills each before their seclusion, making them utterly stunned, and at the same time, their cultivation bases were also firmly consolidated and promoted. He had a good feeling about Lu Muyan, but he knew that such a woman wasn't someone he could control at all, and it would be difficult even to stand shoulder to shoulder with. Her achievements wouldn't be limited to the eastern region. After this time's Tianling Continental Tournament for hegemony was over, she would definitely have a broader space to display her abilities. He could only silently hide his feelings for her. Wishing her well was enough. Alright, stop being so humble. Are you going to all continue to remain in seclusion? Or are we going to go compete for jade tablets? Lu Muyan asked with a light smile. Let's remain in seclusion a little longer to improve our cultivation base a little more. It'll still be hard to meet sword masters from other kingdoms, even if we go out now. Yunzi Emo replied. The sword masters from other kingdoms who entered the semifinals were basically all lurking in cultivation in the first 3 months. It was a waste of time for them to go out, and it was better to improve their cultivation now quickly. then contend for a place in the chaotic battle in another 2 months. Lu Muyen nodded. Your choice is right. Muyen, what are your plans? Yi Qinghan just felt that she wouldn't obediently cultivate in the cave until 2 months later. Although this area is dangerous, but there are quite a lot of spiritual herbs and spiritual items. I want to go find them while cultivating. I'm used to cultivating in battle, so that I can also advance. Lu Muyen added with a smile. While you're all cultivating, you can also go to nearby places to challenge some demonic beasts that are higher in cultivation base than your own. This won't only improve your cultivation base faster, but also give you stronger combat experience. Alright. What she said was what they were thinking too. But if they went with her, they would only be holding her back, so they could only let her act alone. Lu Muyen and the several people chatted for a while, then began to go into seclusion again. She took 10 elemental nurturing pills and advanced her cultivation base to advanced phase Sword Monarch before she began to stabilize it. A month later she left the cave. Owner, are we going to challenge some tier 7 demonic beasts in the mountains? Bingji appeared excited. The crystal core of the tigress was refined into a pill by Lu Muyen. After he took it, the demonic energy in his body grew much denser. If he got more crystal cores of tier 7 demonic beasts to refine into pills, he believed that after the seal was broken, he could advance to peak phase tier 8. Miao Miao and Shui were also looking forward to it. Their cultivation speed was astonishingly fast with the help of pills, and also wanted to try to battle tier 7 demonic beasts. Miao Miao was now in late phase tier 6, and Shui also broke through to peak phase tier 6. As long as he consumed the blood essence of 2 tier 7 demonic beasts, he could advance. This was also one of the reasons why Lu Muyen acted now. Of course, this is our inexhaustible resource treasury, and below is our battlefield. A brisk smile flashed past Lu Muyen's eyes, and with a flash, she entered the depths of the forest. Chapter 261. The mantis stalks the cicada. Unaware of the oriole behind in the following month, Lu Muyen took her spirit pets to challenge tier 7 demonic beast territories, successfully attracting the attention of the king of the forested mountains. In the class 2 danger zone, under an abyss filled with a black aura, and in an underground demon's cave with abundant spiritual force, there was a cyan-bearded old man sitting, with a man and a woman standing below. King, recently a human woman in the forest has killed no less than 10 of our tier 7 demon cultivators. The woman with some slender red snakes coiled atop her head spoke first, revealing great respect to the old man on the seat. The cyan-bearded old man looked calm, raised his head and asked, "What is the strength of the dead tier 7 demon cultivators? And what cultivation base is that human woman?" Reporting to King, all those who died were demon cultivators at initial phase tier 7. According to the investigation, the woman was only an advanced phase Sword Monarch. The woman's face was a bit grim. Those trash were truly shameful. The skinny man beside her had a grave look in his eyes. She should be the human sword master, who used a raise to trap and kill demonic beasts. Lu Muyen's reputation had long passed into the ears of many demon cultivators, and she was most famous for her array that trapped beasts. It doesn't matter if she is that person or not. Since she dared provoke us on our mountain, she naturally couldn't be let out alive. The woman snorted coldly. The skinny man said nothing and looked directly at the old man above. The old man stroked his cyan beard and smiled lightly. Let her keep messing about. We'll settle all the accounts together during the great decisive war. Monarch had told them long ago that they were not allowed to kill the genius sword master of the humans in person before the great decisive war. Since the human female sword master could kill initial phase tier 7 demon cultivators, even if he sent out peak phase tier 7 demon cultivators, she could still escape even if she couldn't defeat them. So why bother? If she accidentally killed a few late phase tier 7 demon cultivators, then their class 2 danger zone would fall behind during the great decisive war. King, then do we just forget about it? The woman obviously didn't want to be passive about this. Don't mention this again. As long as she doesn't take the initiative to provoke you, then you're not allowed to act. The cyan-bearded old man's eyes turned cold and warned. The woman took a deep breath, then muttered beneath her breath. Yes. She really couldn't figure out why they wanted to let the human sword cultivator go. The Tier 7 demon cultivators who were killed were all fools. At this time, she desperately hoped that the woman would take the initiative to provoke her. After leaving the demon's cave, the skinny man said to the woman before leaving, "For now, let's concentrate on cultivating and wait for the great decisive war between humans and demons this time." "Humph, you don't have to pretend to be kind." The woman turned her head away and ignored him. The man shook his head speechlessly, then disappeared into the sky in a flash. The more the woman thought about it, the more it annoyed her. Her eyes were grim, and she finally turned into a red light and went in Lu Muyan's direction. She just didn't like a human, female cultivator being arrogant on their territory. At this time, Lu Muyan and Bing Ji, who had transformed into his original form, were guarding outside a bush, waiting for Shui to advance. After swallowing the blood of a few Tier 7 demonic beasts, Shui finally broke through the shackles of Tier 6 and entered Tier 7. Waves after waves of spiritual energy surged and gathered, preparing for the advancement. The woman felt the fluctuations of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, and accelerated her speed. After an hour, Shui's body was completely tempered, his roots were countless times larger, and the golden color of the main branch was even purer. "Owner, I succeeded," Shui said excitedly, speaking human words. "Come and read on our website Wuxia World site." Thanks, demonic plants and demonic beasts were different, as they could only speak the human language at Tier 7, but couldn't transform into a human form. Only when he reached Tier 8 could he transform into a human form, which fully reflected the difficulty of cultivating for demonic plants. "Not bad. You can also take the pills I made before too." Lu Muyan smiled in a rather good mood. The pills she had previously refined with the crystal cores of Tier 7 demonic beasts were only suitable for demonic beasts above Tier 6. Otherwise the violent energy would be detrimental to their body. So neither Miao Miao nor Shui could take it. Humph humph. I'll be entering Tier 7 soon too. Miao Miao stuck out a small head and said determinedly. Now she had the lowest cultivation base among all the spirit pets. She didn't want to be the bottom at all. Bing Ji rolled his eyes. "Little guy, your cultivation speed is already heaven-defying, all right?" The little white Jiao's cultivation speed was the fastest he had ever seen. How long had it been since she followed owner? And she had already advanced from Tier 2 to late phase Tier 6. If this news was spread, how could the other demonic beasts live hearing that? Even he was jealous and envious. Yet who would have thought that this little thing would still not be satisfied? Sure enough, as the owner was abnormally monstrous, none of the spirit pets who followed her were useless either. He secretly decided that he couldn't be too bad either, and wouldn't be lazy in the future. Miao Miao will advance very soon. Isn't there a ready-made resource sending themselves to our door? Lu Muyan sneered and looked at the sky in the distance. As expected, a moment after her voice fell, a red light dashed over and fell in front of them, turning into an exceptionally enchanting woman. Shiji scrutinized the purple-clothed woman opposite with disdain in her eyes. "You're that human sword master who keeps slaying Tier 7 demon cultivators in our forest? So what if I am?" Lu Muyan raised an eyebrow with her arms folded. The demon cultivator opposite was a late-phase demon cultivator of the snake race, which was a bit tricky, but they were still sure to win. It just so happened that Miao Miao needed a Tier 7 snake race crystal core to assist in her advancement, and this demon cultivator came at just the right time. What arrogance! Today, I'll toss you into a snake nest to taste the feeling of 10,000 snakes eating your heart. Shiji snorted coldly. A beautiful smile bloomed on Lu Muyan's stunning face, as if a lovely poppy that carried poison in its beauty. "I sure want to try it." Shiji's eyes grew cold, and she took the lead in launching the attack. Her mouth moved, and one only heard chi-chi sounds. Then countless red snakes quickly slithered out of the mountains and slithered towards Lu Muyan. Lu Muyan swept the snakes on the ground casually with her eyes. Then with a thought, a wall of fire suddenly rose from all sides and engulfed the little snakes that came flying over. Shiji was stunned for a moment. She obviously underestimated Lu Muyan's strength. The coldness and killing intent in her eyes grew stronger and stronger. She turned into a giant red snake with a pure red body and flew over. Her snake eyes looked at Lu Muyan insidiously. "You're lucky that you can make me reveal my true form to kill you." Lu Muyan smiled in amusement. "I don't know why you think so highly of yourself. Revealing your true form to kill me? Do I have to thank you for that?" "Humph." Shiji didn't say much, and swept her tail violently and heavily down at Lu Muyan. Lu Muyan flew out of the way, and 10 golden swords rose into the air, turning into a golden arc, slashing towards the tail of the snake. Shiji was a late-phase Tier 7 demonic beast after all. Although her body was huge, but it was extremely flexible. She avoided the sword arc and opened her mouth, biting towards Lu Muyan. Lu Muyan stepped on the golden swords, and her hands were covered with a layer of light red before throwing out punches. The fighting intent in her body was aroused. At the same time, a group of people not far away were rushing towards the direction they were fighting. "Master, the snake we were looking for is fighting with a human sword master," one of them said excitedly. The lips of the handsome, black-clothed man in front raised in an arc. "No hurry. We'll be that Oriole today." Chapter 262. Jixian. There being an unfamiliar aura approaching. Both Lu Muyan and Shiji had discovered it, but it was impossible for them to join forces. They could only kill each other as soon as possible, and wait to see what the hidden person wanted to do. Lu Muyan originally wanted the newly promoted Xue Xue to fight against Shiji to train his combat ability, but she dismissed the idea after discovering the group of hidden people. Shiji was strong. If she didn't play her trump cards, then she could only barely tie with her. She had the ability to skip stage battle, but unfortunately, not only was the opponent's bloodline pretty good, but she was also late-phase Tier 7. It wouldn't be easy to kill. "Owner, let us join the battle and make it quick." Bing Ji swept the position of the team with a chill in his eyes. Lu Muyan nodded. "Then let's gang up." In the battle earlier, she already found the feeling and skills of fighting with late-phase Tier 7 demonic beasts, so she didn't need to continue. It was only right to save some energy to deal with the few lurking human sword masters. The eyes Bing Ji looked at Shiji, with were as if she had already become a pill. He spread his wings and flew high, waving his wings to continue to form and shoot endless ice arrows with boundless ice element attribute. Meow Meow was also not to be outdone. She flew out from Lu Muyan's wrist, and turned into a huge, purely white python, opened her mouth, and a mist that could slow down movements sprayed out. Shiji was startled. She obviously didn't expect that Lu Muyan's 2 Tier 6 spirit pets abilities weren't inferior to initial phase Tier 7 demon cultivators. She glared and said, "You are such a shameless human. If you have the ability, then fight me one-on-one." She could only tie if she fought against this human woman alone, and she completely underestimated the strength of her opponent. Now that the opponent's spirit pets were constantly attacking, she was miserable, only hoping that her words would be useful. Lu Muyan chuckled and said sarcastically, "You're an idiot, aren't you? Spirit pets are also a part of my strength. I'll only be a fool if I slowly mess with you." While she spoke, the movements of her hands didn't stop. 10 golden flying swords quickly formed an 8-trigram sword array and surrounded Shiji, slowing her dodging speed and narrowing her range of movements. Soon Shiji, who couldn't escape and inhaled the poisonous gas from Meow Meow, was shot by the ice arrows of Bing Ji, and countless bloody holes caused the pure red snake's scales to fall. Shiji shrieked. She opened her mouth, and a venom with a strange fragrance burst towards Lu Muyan. Lu Muyan was not only not afraid, but her eyes were instead filled with joy. She didn't expect that the venom sac of the snake demon was mutated. She had big use for it. She didn't greet the venom. A red fire lotus with a trace of purple gold fell from her hand, and after spinning a few times, it absorbed and swallowed all the venom. As the venom was swallowed, the fire lotus exuded a nice fragrance, and gradually disappeared in the air. Shiji's eyes revealed horror. Because of the close quarters combat, and her sensitivity to spirit flames, She obviously discovered that there was a trace of spirit flames hidden in the fire lotus condensed from elemental energy. Her venom sac was her trump card and ultimate move, but she had a single nemesis, and that was spirit flame. Just you wait, you'll definitely be killed in this space during the great decisive war, Shiji said viciously. Then her huge body shrank bit by bit into a red snake with the thickness of a finger, and flew away in the opposite direction, clearly trying to escape. There's no need to make it during some sort of great decisive war. Today it'll end you. Lu Muyen wouldn't do anything like returning a tiger back into the mountains. A glint flashed past her eyes and 10 flying swords turned into a golden stream of light, darting out instantly, as if they had been prepared for a long time, and slashed straight towards the weak point of the little snake. Shiji was shocked and barely avoided the stream of light, but her weak spot was also sliced open around a third into her skin. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, but she had no intention of continuing to fight, and she had even less desire to take revenge for the scratch. She just wanted to flee quickly and go back to find backup. Even if she couldn't kill Lu Muyen this time, during the great decisive war, she definitely would kidnap her into a snake nest to be devoured by tens of thousands of snakes. Insidious hatred rose in her heart, while Lu Muyen wouldn't let her leave even more. A wall of flames erupted from before Shiji, and perfectly blocked her way. Shiji gritted her teeth. Seeing that there was no spirit flame she feared in the wall of fire, she wrapped her entire body with demonic energy, and wanted to dash straight through the fire wall. At this moment Bingji, who was ready to act, opened his beak and a dark blue beam of light shot out of his mouth, aimed directly at Shiji, who was about to dash through the wall of fire. Shiji hated inwardly, and used a secret skill to strengthen the hardness of her scales. She originally thought that after passing through the fire wall, she could escape, but never thought that the blue beam of light would actually pass through the weak spot through her back. Her shrunken body suddenly grew larger and slammed heavily onto the wall of fire, making a sizzle sound from being burned by the elemental energy flames. Then a golden sword light shot out from underground right when she was about to escape using her last trump card, and sliced her snake head down. In an instant, Shiji stared with wide eyes, and her snake body and snake's head separated as her aura gradually disappeared. Before she died, there was only one thought in her mind. Why didn't she listen to the advice before she came? Otherwise she wouldn't have given her life in vain. But unfortunately it was too late. As soon as Shiji died, Lu Muyen used her flash steps and dashed over. At the same time, a figure also sprang towards the direction of the giant snake. Clang! Then only a loud sound of weapons meeting each other was heard. The two figures stopped over Shiji's body, each holding a long sword. Obviously, the loud noise just now was the sound left by the two when they fought. Your honor wants to snatch my prey? Lu Muyen was expressionless, looking at the suddenly appearing black-clothed man with coldness in her eyes. The man opposite was tall, handsome, and had a noble aura. Most importantly, he looked somewhat similar to Ji Yu, and Lu Muyen could guess who he was at a glance. Ji Xian stood in the air, like a sword that was about to be unsheathed, temporarily restraining his sharpness. Mrs. Over-anxious, this one merely wants to make a deal with you. Is this how you do business with someone? Lu Muyen sneered, her voice cold. What? Your mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind plan failed. So now you want a force to sell, powerful to buy? This one just wanted to stop you from taking this snake demon, and make a deal with you peacefully, with no intention to force a deal. Ji Xian discovered when he was watching just now that this stunning purple-clothed woman's cultivation base wasn't that high, but she wasn't good to mess with. Even if he had any thoughts of seizing it by force at first, when Shiji died, he had dismissed those thoughts completely. How do you know that I will agree to do business with you? Lu Muyen said lightly, folding her arms. Ji Xian's handsome face revealed an obscure smile, and instead of answering he asked, I wonder if Miss name is Lu Muyen? Since you know, why ask? Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow, and her attitude was neither good nor bad. Although the opponent's elder brother and his elite team didn't die directly in her hands, but she also caused their deaths, so it was normal for Ji Xian to recognize her. I was merely uncertain. I didn't expect you to really be Lu Muyen. Ji Xian saw her use the fire wall array with ease, plus the 10 famous golden sword array, so he guessed that she was the one who killed his scheming eldest brother, and was also one of the hot dark horses in the continental tournament for hegemony, Lu Muyen. Chapter 263. Business. Lu Muyen observed that there was no hatred in Ji Xian's expression, and his gestures were as calm as if nothing happened, without even a trace of killing intent, so she had a guess. Do you want to avenge Ji Yu? She asked, sounding him out. Ji Xian's originally waveless eyes revealed some ridicule. He's worthy. Ji Yu's mother secretly killed his empress mother, and Ji Yu had been plotting to kill him since he was a child. If it weren't for the great opportunities and luck, he would have died in one of the countless assassinations. How could he possibly avenge that person? He only pitied that he didn't personally finish Ji Yu. As expected, you two brothers are at odds as rumored. Although Ji Xian hid it well, but Lu Muyen still caught the sliver of hatred in his eyes. Ji Yu's temperament was grim and ruthless, and he was relatively narrow-minded. He must have made things difficult for, or framed, Ji Xian numerous times. Otherwise this man with the same deep scheming wouldn't reveal such hatred. Ji Xian didn't care what Lu Muyen thought of the feelings between them two brothers and said bluntly, I actually want to thank young Miss Lu for killing him. You're welcome. I also think he's not pleasing to the eye. If Ji Yu was compared to Ji Xian, she would indeed be more disgusted with Ji Yu. Ji Xian in front of her made her feel a little harder to see through, and she didn't feel much dislike in her heart towards him. But she wouldn't underestimate him, still cautious of him acting against her. This man definitely already turned black one. Young Miss Lu sure is an interesting person. Ji Xian found that Lu Muyen wasn't like any of the women he had ever known, neither cold nor tender, nor cruel or arrogant or imperious. In short, she made him unable to see through her. Lu Muyen swept the few people who walked out of the woods behind with her gaze, then looked at Ji Xian deeply and asked, Just tell me what business you want to do. She discovered that the several people exuded a feeling, as if they were searching for this Tier 7 snake demon for a while, and she wanted to know if they had the thought of killing her and snatching the treasure. Young Miss Lu is indeed a refreshing person, Ji Xian said with admiration in his eyes, then went straight to the point. I want the snake's gallbladder. If young Miss Lu could severe your love, I am willing to pay a sum of spiritual stones, and other things too, as long as I have them. Can I ask why you want the snake's gallbladder? Lu Muyen asked. She didn't have the thought that she must have the snake's gallbladder. She had planned to use it to make wine, but she didn't quite like the bitter taste. My master is a spiritual wine master. Before entering the competition space, he ordered me to collect snake gallbladder of high-level demon snakes. It was only because we found the trace of this Shiji did we enter here. Ji Xian said with a light smile. It was just that they never thought that Lu Muyen would arrive first. Lu Muyen raised her eyes and looked at him with a smile that wasn't quite a smile, saying, So that's how it is. I'm not interested in it either. How many spiritual stones will you give? Ji Xian was at Sword Sovereign Cultivation Base, and there was also another member at Sword Sovereign Cultivation Base in the team. The rest were all peak phase Sword Monarch, so if they really fought, then it'd definitely be more difficult than dealing with Shiji. She considered the snake gallbladder dispensable. As long as these people didn't want the crystal core and venom sac, then it was fine for her to take a step back. How about 10,000 spiritual stones? Ji Xian knew there was a possibility of obtaining it after hearing her say that. Although Lu Muyen was only alone, but although the spirit pets around her were all Tier 6, they all possessed Tier 7 combat strength. It was said that there was even a blood-sucking spirit pet that had not appeared yet. Taking it by force was the very last resort. It was nothing if it could be exchanged for money. Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow. 20,000 spiritual stones. Take it if you want it. Or if you don't, then I won't be accompanying you any further. If one could make a fortune, then it was a fortune made. The auction in the central area was about to be held, and she doubled the price because she also wanted to show that she wasn't soft, only too lazy to fight them. Don't be insatiable, 10,000 spiritual stones is already our master giving you some face. A man behind Ji Xian looked at Lu Muyan angrily and said, "Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. What qualifications did an advanced stage sword monarch have to bargain with their master? If it weren't that she killed Ji Yu, and there were even the spirit pets by her side, then they would have already fought." Ji Yu furrowed his brows slightly and used his gaze to stop the other people who wanted to say more. Sure enough, as he thought, Lu Muyan snorted coldly and was about to collect the snake on the ground, looking as if she was saying that she didn't care whether they wanted it or not. What would they do about it? And that if they wanted to fight, then they'd fight. "Young Miss Lu, do you think this snake gallbladder is worth 20,000 spiritual stones?" Ji Xian said with a smile, his expression unchanged. Lu Muyan found that his self-restraint was indeed much stronger than Ji Yu. "Isn't it worth it? This snake gallbladder isn't an ordinary snake gallbladder, but a gallbladder derived from a snake whose internal organs have mutated. If it's used to make spiritual wine, then its effect would be equivalent to that of a Tier 8 demon snake's gallbladder. Can I take a look?" Ji's eyes flashed with surprise. Lu Muyan hadn't even seen the snake's gallbladder, so how did she know it was mutated? Sure. Aside from the venom sac and the crystal core, the internal organs of this snake can also be given to you as a gift, but it cannot be a cent less than 20,000 spiritual stones. Lu Muyan said generously. The corners of Ji Xian's lips twitched. What did he want those internal organs for? She said it as if she were so generous. After seeing that Lu Muyan used the flying sword to take the crystal core and venom sac from the giant snake and put it away first, he used his long sword to open the snake's belly and picked out the snake's gallbladder for a closer look. He was also a spiritual wine master himself and had followed his master to make wine with snake's gallbladder all year round. He recognized at a glance that this was a mutant snake's gallbladder, and he couldn't help but think more highly of Lu Muyan. "Young Miss Lu is also a spiritual wine master?" He looked up and asked. "Is whether I'm a spiritual wine master or not related to our transaction?" Lu Muyan replied with a smile. Ji Xian lowered his head and smiled. This woman sure was very wary of him. "Sure. 20,000 spiritual stones deal. I want the snake's gallbladder and these internal organs." The internal organs of snakes can also be soaked in wine, but its effect just wasn't as good as that of snake gallbladder. However, these internal organs were all mutated, so the effect should be better than that of Tier 6 demon snake's gallbladders. He was also somewhat interested in the snake's venom sac, but it could be seen from Lu Muyan's appearance that she paid more attention to the crystal core and the venom sac, so he gave up. Lu Muyan nodded. "Then you can take it all, but the body of this snake won't be given to you. After taking this snake's scales back, and ask a leather armor master to refine it into a defense-type leather armor, it could arm her family in the Lu clan, so she naturally wouldn't give it to Ji Xian." Ji Xian looked at her in amusement and said, "Don't worry, I'm not interested in the snake body." Although the snake's scales were good for refining, but he didn't want to fight with Lu Muyan because of something that he didn't need to have. Just for the fact that she thought Ji Yu wasn't pleasing to the eye and killed him. So he treated her with a good feeling. Then, he immediately put 20,000 spiritual stones in an interspatial bag and tossed it to Lu Muyan. Lu Muyan took the interspatial bag, but didn't check it, and just put it away. She had already swept over its contents with her mental energy, so she wasn't worried that he would deceive her. Seeing that Ji Xian had taken away the internal organs and snake gallbladder, she also put the corpse of the giant snake into her interspatial ring. "Prince Ji is also a refreshing person. I'll look for you if I have any business to do in the future. I'll leave first as I have some things to do." Lu Muyan didn't want to stay here any longer. Ji Xian's expression was sincere. "All right. Hope to see you later." After Lu Muyan's figure and aura completely disappeared in this section of the forest, the man behind Ji Xian who had spoken before asked, "Master, are we just going to let her go like this?" One became evil, or at least not ethically or morally right. Chapter 264. guard a stump and wait for hares to bump into it. Seeing Lu Muyin leaving safely, the rest of the team were rather surprised as to why Ji Xian let her go so easily. This was not his style of doing things at all. Ji Xian glanced at the person who opened his mouth and said, "Her strength isn't as simple as it seems. Her demonic plant who can suck human blood had already been lying in ambush not far from us. And it will definitely be us who will suffer if we fight. She really has a demonic beast that can suck blood essence." Another member from a distinguished clan asked in surprise. Lu Muyan's reputation had gradually grown in the competition space. One, because her points soared in the preliminary round and eventually entered the top 10, and two, because her talent in arrays was excelling, being able to trap demonic beasts and be unafraid of beast tides. And even after the preliminary round, news of her had never ended. Many people had spread rumors that she had a demonic beast that sucked blood essence. After all, each time a beast tide was annihilated, all the corpses of demonic beasts were presented to have had their blood dried, although they hadn't seen it with their own eyes. But everyone all speculated such. But they were all dubious. After all, rumors were often not all true. It's not a demonic beast, it's a demonic plant. Ji Xian's deep eyes revealed a strange look. And if I judged correctly, her demonic plant just broke through from Tier 6 to Tier 7. What? The people behind Ji Xian couldn't help but exclaim. They knew about the fourth prince's shrewdness and abilities. If he didn't have confidence in something, he wouldn't say it easily. Demonic plants cultivation was 100 times more difficult. That's why at the same level, a demonic plant's strength was much stronger than that of demonic beasts. Demonic plant spirit pets were extremely rare on Tianling continent, and Tier 7 ones were even unheard of. They really didn't expect that a woman with only sword monarch cultivation base to have such a spirit pet. Ji Xian glanced at them and smiled lightly, saying, "And you may have all overlooked a more important issue. She has at least 3 spirit pets. What does this mean? Could she be a spirit beast master?" A team member blurted. On Tianling continent, a sword master who wasn't a spirit beast master could only contract 2 spirit pets, at most with the help of a spirit beast master. Even strong sword venerable powerhouses and above were no exception. Therefore Lu Muyan, who had 3 spirit pets, must be a spirit beast master. Ji Xian's expression was obscure and said leisurely, "She has excelling talent in arrays, and is also a spirit beast master. If we don't kill her, then that's that, but if we kill, then it was necessary to end her life completely, otherwise there will be endless troubles. We simply don't have the confidence to take her life today, so it would be better to befriend her than to forge grudges. Only such would be a good deal." Then he added, he also suspected that she was a spiritual wine master, and even if she wasn't, she still knew about brewing spiritual wine very well. Otherwise she wouldn't know the brewed effects of mutant snake gallbladder and internal organs. Fourth prince is indeed wise. That pupil of a distinguished clan wasn't a fool either. They had no grudges or grievances against Lu Muyan, so why would they forge a feud with her? Even Jiyu, that powerful hypocrite, was defeated by her. They really couldn't only look at the appearance of her cultivation base. Ji Xian smiled without care, turned around, and walked towards the depths of the forest. "Let's look for the other Tier 7 snake demon from the intel." Yes, if Lu Muyan heard the conversation between Ji Xian and the several people, she would be extremely surprised. After all, Shui was well hidden, and there wasn't any aura revealed at all. Unless one was a powerhouse above sword venerable, then they wouldn't be able to detect anything. Ji Xian was only at sword sovereign cultivation base, so him being able to find the human-eating blood thorn vine king meant he definitely met with some fortuitous opportunity or had a special ability. At the same time, a cave in the depths of the abyss, a skinny man who was sitting cross-legged and cultivating suddenly opened his eyes. He took out a red scale from within his pockets at his chest. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. The originally lustrous scale suddenly dimmed, and the demonic energy on it was instantly lost. With a vicious look in his eyes he muttered to himself, "Little Sisteris dead. That human woman really dared to kill Shiji." When the great decisive war began, He must drag out her soul to pay homage to little sister. Lu Muyen didn't know that she was now a target of a snake demon at peak phase tier 7. Even if she knew, she would simply hope impatiently for the snake demon to come quicker. The more crystal cores of snake demons for Meow Meow to promote herself, the better. After returning to the temporary cave that was opened up, Lu Muyen took out the crystal core of the tier 7 demonic beast to refine into a grade 4 pill that would be beneficial to the advancement of a demonic beast's cultivation base. Only when her fire elemental energy reached peak phase Sword Monarch could she refine grade 4 pills. But if she used the purple gold spirit flame, and with her rich experience, she could still refine a grade 4 pill now. First, she didn't take out the crystal core of the snake demon to refine, but instead took the crystal core she obtained previously, and after failing once, she successfully refined it. Meow Meow also used the special effects of the pill to reach peak phase tier 6. As long as she took the pill refined from the snake crystal core, at an opportune moment, she could advance to tier 7. Time passed in the mountains quickly while cultivating. Although Lu Muyen was still thinking about the scarlet bee nest, but she also felt that it wasn't time to go get it, so she could only temporarily give up. After cultivating in the mountains for more than 3 months, the cultivation bases of the two teams had all improved a lot. Lu Mubai and Yun Zmo had successfully reached peak phase Sword Monarch using their talents and the pills given by Lu Muyen. They could surely return to the Empire after the competition with Sword Sovereign cultivation bases. Let's hatch a plan to snatch the Identity Jade tablets, Lu Muyen suggested. Yi Qinghan smiled and asked, "Let's hear your plan." Since she said that, then she must have a plan in her mind. We don't have to go find sword masters from other kingdoms to snatch it all. Let's guard a stump and wait for hares to bump into it. Lu Muyen replied. Yun Zmo was silent, then asked, "How do we guard a stump and wait for hares to bump into it?" After I advanced into the top 10 in the preliminary round, am rewarded with various colored jade tablets. Many people from the elite teams of superpower kingdoms and large kingdoms would be unreconciled, so they would definitely take the initiative to find me and snatch my jade tablets, depriving me of my qualifications to enter the finals. Well, spread the news that I'm at a certain place somewhere, and ITLL naturally bring people to come. And our two teams only represent a small kingdom and medium kingdom, plus our overall cultivation bases don't seem to be very high. So when we encounter sword masters from large kingdoms, they will definitely act first, so we'll just fight back. Most importantly, the red jade tablets in our hands are even rarer than the purple jade tablets. If we want to enter the finals, we must hold 7 kinds of jade tablets. They'll attack us even simply because they have to. Lu Muyen spoke her thoughts. She was certain that each time they released news at a different location, there would definitely be people who would take the initiative to deliver themselves to their door. That's a good idea. The others' eyes lit up. The people who entered the semifinals were basically all sword masters from large kingdoms and superpowers kingdoms, with very few from small and medium-sized kingdoms. After the semifinals, these people from small kingdoms were also the first targets for sword masters from large kingdoms to clear out of the competition for the red jade tablets. They believed that at this time, countless people had already started plotting against them. After all, there was little porridge in many people. There were not even 500 people holding red jade tablets, and the organizer will use various methods to make up for the shortage of jade tablets, such as the top 10 in the preliminary round being rewarded with 50 jade tablets each. So although the quota for the finals was 500, but there may not be 500 people entering the finals. The several people discussed countermeasures in detail, then left the mountain together to set up camp near the central city, guarding a stump and waiting for hares to bump into it. An idiom meaning to trust luck or wait idly for opportunities to appear themselves, but is often used to teach a lesson, as it is derived from an ancient story, basically saying that one cannot just trust in luck or wait idly. When it's used, it's also often used when a person has hatched a plan beforehand. So it sounds as if one is saying to wait idly and trust luck, but the person in fact, has already hatched a plan to make chance and luck on their side. If that makes sense XD. I could be wrong in the latter half, since my only exposure to the idiom is through drama and novels haha. Chapter 265. Initial results. Lu Muyen and the others cultivated in a canyon near the central city, waiting for the fish to be hooked on the bait. Sure enough, after the spread of information from scheming people, their news quickly spread to the ears of the elite teams of various kingdoms. Leader, we've already received news about Lu Muyen. Is the news reliable? Absolutely reliable. She and the 2 teams from small kingdoms are staying in Reed Wind Grand Canyon. Go and assemble the people to set off quickly. Better not let others snatch the jade tablets first. Yes. Such conversations resounded in various places within and outside the city. In the private room of Stream Reflection Restaurant, Luoli repeated the news he had obtained to the rest, then looked at Luoyi with a slightly worried look. Elder brother, so many people want Lu Muyen's jade tablets. Why don't we also go to the Grand Canyon to help her? Sinan's team had just returned from outside the city, and they came to the restaurant together after meeting Luoli. There was also worry in his eyes. No need, if we go we'll only cause trouble. Luoyi said lightly, playing with the moonlight cup in his hand. Luoli furrowed his brows. How could it be causing trouble? She purposefully lured those people there. If we go and scare them away, you better be careful not to get beaten by her. Luoyi said slowly. Luoli was startled for a moment, then the corners of his lips twitched. If he really ruined that woman's plans, then he might really be beaten. Elder brother, you mean that she deliberately lured those people there? Why did she do this? Luoli asked. Sinan looked at him with a urine idiot gaze. Lu Muyen, that little fox, definitely wants to lead those people to come to her door to send her their jade tablets. After listening to Luoyi's words, he also understood. With Lu Muyen's intelligence, how was it possible for everyone to know where she was hiding? He couldn't think of any other purpose other than to snatch jade tablets. Luoyi reached out his hand and patted his younger brother's shoulder. You're confused in your worry. Lu Muyen had so many different colored jade tablets in her hands. Those people of the elite teams from large and middle kingdoms didn't dare provoke them, but they dared to snatch her. Even if those people realized that she was releasing the news on purpose, they still wouldn't give up the idea of robbing her. Then why don't we go and take a look? If there are too many people, we can go snatch some along the way. Luo Li and Lu Muyen had been separated for several months already, and a feeling of longing that he had never felt before rose in his heart. Luo Yi sighed. Younger brother was really sinking in deeper and deeper. All right, as you like. Sinan also wanted to see what tricks Lu Muyen wanted to play, so he decided to follow them secretly. Helian Lai, Yan Jun and Emo Ling also shared the same thoughts as them. On that day, Lu Muyen and the several others were cultivating when suddenly, an unfamiliar elemental energy fluctuation broke the calm of the canyon. They're here. Lu Muyen opened her eyes and said with a smile. Yi Qing Han and the others were also looking forward to this, and it seemed that they were exceptionally eager for it, having long been prepared. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, their plan was very successful. As expected, 2 elite teams from large kingdoms arrived and entered Lu Muyen's soul disorienting array. She had now been promoted to advanced phase sword monarch. Her spiritual energy was even more dense, and she could also set up grade 3 arrays to besiege and confuse enemies. Arrays were also divided into grades on this continent, from grade 1 to grade 9. Array masters grade 4 and above were all targets to win over of various forces in this world, and exceptionally rare. In the soul disorienting array, those sword masters would lose their senses for an incense stick of time. And in the array, Lu Muyen also incorporated Miao Miao's venomous gas, making them move very slowly. Soon the jade tablets of the previous groups of people were easily removed by them, and they hardly used much combat power. Muyen, your method of guarding a stump and waiting for hairs to bump into it is very useful. Yi Qing Han said after taking off the jade tablet of the last opponent sword master. Lu Muyen said with a smile. It was they who acted greedy first, we just fought back. They lured those people into the soul-disorienting array. Then after they were caught in Meow Meow's venomous gas, they moved slowly, allowing them to enter into the array to snatch jade tablets. However, she didn't intend to kill. After snatching the jade tablets, they didn't hurt or kill anyone, only waiting for them to be automatically teleported out of the competition space. Then they continued to lure the second wave of people in. We obtained a lot of jade tablets today. This is indeed much faster than us taking the initiative to attack, Yunlon said with a smile. Lu Muyan nodded. More people will eventually come too. Inside the central castle, the elders of the 6 major sects couldn't help holding their foreheads when they watched Lu Muyan lure their enemies into the depths of their arrays. How did this girl's brain grow? She could even think of such an idea. Did she get inspiration from when she was besieging the beast tides? This way of guarding a stump and waiting for hares to bump into it is fast, accurate and ruthless. The elder of the sword sect revealed some admiration in his eyes. The eyes of the strong and sturdy elder of the 8 extremes sect lit up brightly. It's more than good. This was simply too good. If he wasn't mistaken, Lu Muyan arranged a grade 3 array. Such talent would even be comparable to the older pupils who had cultivated arrays for many years from their 8 extremes sect. The other people glanced at the excited 8 extremes sect elder with disdain. Even if he's that excited, she still wouldn't go to their 8 extremes sect. Although they used tricks, but they didn't snatch the interspatial rings of the loser or cause any massacres. Their hearts and temperaments are indeed rare. The medicine sect's elder smiled kindly, and his satisfaction with Lu Muyan's sword. The elder of the beast tamer sect nodded and said, "She is indeed a good seedling." Not only Lu Muyan, but also Yi Qinghan, Lu Mubai and Yun Ziemo are very good. He had already chosen Yi Qinghan. If he could reach the top 100, he would let him directly enter as an outer core pupil. Lu Mubai and Yun Ziemo had good talents and temperaments, but unfortunately, they didn't have the expertise in taming beasts. But that was fine too. It was only right to net them all in since they're good seedlings. Although the 6 major sects each had one profession that was particularly outstanding, but within their sect, they also had other cultivation options. For example, the beast taming sect also had branch departments in arrays, alchemy and smithing, among which there were many well-qualified pupils. Yun Zimo's path of the sword is righteous and in line with our sword sect. If he can enter the finals, then we won't be humble and will accept him. The elder of the sword sect said. Hearing him say that, the other elders weren't disapproving. The sword sect like Yun Ziemo. Then if Yun Ziemo really went, they didn't lose much either. Unlike them contending for Lu Muyan. Our heavenly secret palace wants that boy, Lu Mubai. The wise-looking elder from the heavenly secrets palace said with a smile. It was just that the others didn't agree with his words. Lu Mubai was Lu Muyan's elder brother. It might affect Lu Muyan's choice. When the time came, they would definitely have to fight for him. Not to mention that Lu Mubei's talent and potential also deserved their attention. Let's see how the dark horse named Chu Han is doing. The elder of the vast mountain sect suggested with a smile of interest. The elders of the other sects also revealed interest. Apart from Lu Muyan this time, Chu Han was also the dark horse they wanted to compete for. The elders of the 6 major sects had already begun to discuss the home of the pupils, while Lu Muyan and the others ushered in a new enemy. Chapter 266. Prepare to gang up on this day. Another wave of people were trapped in Lu Muyan's array. This is the soul disorienting array. The leader of this elite team said cautiously. One of the men furrowed his brows and said, I only saw her fire array before. Who would have expected that she would know other arrays? The leader of the team sneered. Since she's extremely talented in arrays, it's naturally impossible for her to only know one type of array. Then what do we do? Fortunately, Luo Yi and the others didn't continue to follow her. Otherwise it'd be even more troublesome. The man said irritably. He was the one who proposed to go snatch Lu Muyan's jade tablets. If something went wrong, the second prince would definitely blame him. Lu Muyan stood outside the array, observing the situation in the soul-disorienting array. When she saw the person speaking, her eyes narrowed dangerously. It seemed that this elite team from Rongzi Kingdom was being instigated by Luo Qinghe. How could there be no reason to eliminate such a low life when he sent himself to her door? What's the hurry? Don't forget that the second prince is also an array master. The older man behind Luo Qinghe reprimanded. He was extremely disgusted with Luo Qinghe. He was a pupil of a branch of the Luo clan, who they spent a lot of resources to support, and he was fortunate enough to follow Luo Yi and Luo Li as a guard. Yet he actually rebelled. Who knew what the second prince was thinking to accept such a low life? Luo Qinghe glanced at the man and snorted inwardly. When he's become important to the second prince, this person would be the first person he'd get rid of. The 7 of you, go stand in those positions each. Take this with you. When I say begin, channel your elemental energies together. The second prince handed 7 black stones into the hands of the several people, and pointed in several directions as he ordered. Ancient Chinese compass. Often used for feng shui-related things in modern day, I think. Yes. The 7 people took the stones, and immediately stood where the second prince pointed. The second prince himself held a compass, and looked around for a breakthrough point gravely. Only when he entered the array did he discover that it was actually a grade 3 soul disorienting array. Even as a grade 3 array master, he wouldn't be able to arrange it. If it weren't that he had the array breaking talisman from master, he really didn't dare to be careless. Outside the array, Yi Qing Han and the others saw that the several people were different from the others. Not only did they not panic nor run around, but instead they calmly began to break the array. He asked with furrowed brows. Mu Yen, do you think they can break the array you set up? Should be able to. Lu Mu Yen stared at the compass in the second prince's hand. He's holding a high-level array breaking tool, which should have been bestowed by a senior. He probably also knows other means. He's the second prince of Rongzi Kingdom. His master is a grade 4 array master. Mui said. Lu Mu Yen thought about it and asked, is this second prince at odds with Luo Ye's team? The second prince's wife used to chase after Luo Li frantically. Then her clan forced her to marry for connections to the second prince. Mui paused, then added, I heard that the relationship between the two wasn't good after they got married. The second prince also often finds trouble for Luo Li. It's no longer a secret that when the two meet, they get into a fight. Lu Mu Yen said with amusement. So it turns out that the wild little cat also has women pursue him crazily. The several people's eyelids couldn't resist jumping when they heard how she addressed Luo Li. Luo Li was a well-known little overlord of Rongzi Kingdom. His identity was comparable to a prince of the royal family, and his own talent and strength was also very strong. So he could naturally attract countless women to pursue him. Even the second prince wouldn't dare to give him huge trouble. Only Lu Mu Yen would dare to treat Luo Li like that. Most importantly was that Luo Li obviously had the tendency of a masochist. It was probable that even if Lu Mu Yen beat him, he'd endure it with a smile. Boom boom. Suddenly, a few dark clouds floated over in the sky, and a few lightning bolts landed from above. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, prepare to fight. Seeing that after the second prince took out a red talisman and released it, it attracted thunder and lightning to break the array. Lu Mu Yen knew that the soul disorienting array would soon fail. Those that have spirit pets, release them. We're gonna gang up. Since the last time she beat Shi Ji using a gang fight, she had fallen in love this crude way. One was a fool if they had spirit pets and didn't use them. After speaking, she released Miao Miao and Bing Ji to turn into their original forms and wait, while Shui turned into a golden seed and fell to the ground, waiting to ambush. The 7 people's lips twitched. They found that Lu Mu Yen was growing more and more violent. Was this really good? However, they didn't think too much. Everyone released their spirit pets, and the lowest was middle phase tier 6. Many were also subdued and contracted with Lu Mu Yan's help. When Lu Mu Bei's mountain-moving beast came out of the spirit beast ring, he wanted to show off his might, but when his gaze accidentally landed on Lu Mu Yen, his might instantly withered a lot. Oh, late phase tier 7 already. Lu Muyen looked at the large and tall mountain-moving beast with a nitpicky gaze. The mountain-moving beast was a little apprehensive about this little abnormal monster. But he couldn't weaken the might and aura of a demonic beast. He toughened his head and glared at Lu Muyen, saying, "This is because my talent is extraordinary. Didn't this damned woman look down on him even back then? If it wasn't for my elder brother's light, do you think you could have advanced so quickly?" Lu Muyen rolled her eyes at him. That sky-rank skill that Lu Mu Bai had couldn't only nourish the blood spirit to battle, but it could also improve the innate physique of spirit pets through their bloodline. This mountain-moving beast got a bargain. That's because my owner's amazing. The mountain-moving beast had now sincerely surrendered to Lu Mu Bai, so he revealed a proud look. Inwardly, he was also grateful to Lu Muyen. If it weren't for this woman, he wouldn't have met such a good owner either. Seeing that he was completely willingly submissive now, Lu Muyen was quite satisfied. She took out a bottle of pills and threw it over. "Hurry up and improve your strength. You better not humiliate my elder brother's reputation." Lu Mu Bai looked at her in amusement. The pampering in his eyes couldn't be concealed at all. In fact, the talent of the mountain-moving beast was really very good, especially his defensive ability, that was rather powerful. The mountain-moving beast huffed, then took the bottles. But when he only just opened it, his eyes were practically glued to it. Then he immediately poured out one, and gobbled it up excitedly. "Good stuff. Do you have any more? Give me some more." The mountain-moving beast looked at Lu Muyen, asking with bright eyes. Even the other people's demonic beasts stared at the pill bottle on the big hands of the mountain-moving beast. Just by smelling that fragrance, they knew that the pill was beneficial to improving their cultivation base. Lu Muyen looked askance at him. "You want pills? Well, talk about it when you perform well." The skin of this mountain-moving beast was indeed as thick as his stone skin skill. Miao Miao and Bing Ji were in a rare moment of unification, glaring fiercely at the mountain-moving beast. Those were the pills that owner had prepared for them. This ugly monster really had thick skin. The mountain-moving beast rolled his eyes, and quickly put away the pill bottle. There were still 2 pills in it. He didn't miss the gazes that were staring at his pills like wolves and tigers. Listen carefully. If anyone can snatch a purple jade tablet from a human sword master in the array, for each one, he'll reward you with 1 such pill. The more you can snatch, the more pills. Don't miss out on such a chance. Lu Muyen swept over the more than a dozen demonic beasts present with her eyes, and encouraged. When a high reward was offered, brave men would come forward one. It was also time for these demonic beasts to gain some experience. When the other demonic beasts saw the mountain-moving beast put away the pills, their eyes were filled with envy and jealousy. So when they heard Lu Muyen say this, they all stared fixedly at the sword masters that were about to break the array, as if they were given a stimulant. Lu Muyen's lips rose in an arc. She sure was somewhat expectant to see these demonic beasts show their might. A Chinese idiom meaning precisely that. There will always be people willing to do difficult work if there is a reward. Chapter 267. Ganging up is just that powerful. Boom. With the array-breaking talisman in the hands of the second prince luring 7-colored thunder clouds to constantly bombard the array, the grade 3 soul disorienting array that Lu Muyen arranged was broken in a short while. However, the several people in the array were also a little rugged. They were not only affected by the lightning strike, but also because of Miao Miao's poisonous fog. Their movements became groggy. As soon as the array was broken, the second prince came out first. He was not affected because he had a high-level array-breaking magic tool in hand, and he also had a treasure that could avoid poisoning on him. "You're Lu Muyen?" He saw the beautiful woman standing among the group of people and demonic beasts at a glance. She wore a light purple dress that wrapped her elegant body. Her facial features were exquisite, her skin seemingly so bouncy that it could pop. And although not deliberate nor conscious of it, but her body exuded an otherworldly temperament. No wonder even that rash fellow Luo Li would be so enchanted by Lu Muyen. Even when he saw her, he couldn't resist, but want to take her into his imperial harem. Lu Muyen replied lightly, "I'm Lu Muyen. What do you plan on doing?" Why did these people always like to ask whether she was Lu Muyen or not every time? It really was annoying when they knew the answer. Hand over the jade tablets on you, and I won't trouble you, the second prince said as he patted his brocade robes. Lu Muyen chuckled and looked behind him saying, just with how you guys are right now? The second prince turned his head and swept his gaze over the several people in his team, then said indifferently, it's enough with only me. The opponent only had one sword sovereign cultivation-based sword master, plus Lu Muyen who knew how to arrange arrays, and a few sword emperors. Their overall strength was weak, and he didn't feel that he needed to be afraid of anyone. I see. Lu Muyen dragged her words, then glanced at the demonic beasts behind her and said, you all going up or not? Don't you want pills anymore? Roar! The dozen or so demonic beasts who already couldn't wait any longer all rushed up, pouncing towards the second prince and the others. Yi Qinghan and the others weren't idle either, although they didn't want the pills, but they didn't want to make any mistakes either. Since Lu Muyen asked them to gang up, then they'll gang up. The second prince obviously didn't expect her to make such a move. While taking out his magic tool to resist, he looked at Lu Muyen with a displeased expression and asked, what do you mean by this? Do you have bad eyes? Naturally, we're ganging up. Lu Muyen's red lips parted lightly, leaving the second prince speechless. What way of fighting was this? With so many demonic beasts and sword masters coming together, did she still want any face? You are all so despicable. Luo Qinghe's shirt was torn open by Yi Qinghan's chi, and the 5 bloody claw marks were very deep. He shuddered in pain and glared at Lu Muyen. Lu Muyen had a ridicule on her lips. There's no need to be righteous against a villain like you. Besides, we're ganging up. If you're not reconciled, then try it yourself. Pu. Luo Qinghe's eyes revealed ruthlessness, and just as he was about to attack Lu Muyen, he was slapped far away by the mountain-moving beast from behind, spitting blood. Seeing Luo Qinghe staring at him, unreconciled, the mountain-moving beast was furious. He walked over, and it was another few more slaps, but this time, Luo Qinghe was prepared and barely avoided his attacks. On the entire battlefield, only Lu Muyen leaned against a large rock leisurely, watching over the fight between the two groups languidly. When Luo Li and the others arrived, what they saw was precisely such a scene, and they couldn't resist twitching the corners of their lips. This woman was changing up her tricks to play people again, but they didn't reveal themselves, and merely hid to watch the battle not far away, just in case they went out and scared the several people away. The second prince's combat power was indeed very strong, and Yi Qinghan, who had already advanced to sword sovereign cultivation base, wasn't his opponent. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks of course, Yi Qinghan was a spirit beast master, and his combat power had to be combined with his spirit pet to achieve the greatest effect. However, Qi was only at peak phase tier 6, and was still not enough to fight against the second prince. Lu Muyen took out a few rounded jade stones, and tossed them in the direction of the battle casually, as she formed seals with her hands. Not long after, she snapped her fingers, and a cluster of flames leapt out from her fingertip. As soon as the cluster of flames fell into the battle area, it instantly activated the fire elemental array within the jade stones. Several walls of fire erupted from the ground, instantly separating the people who were ganging up on them on the battlefield. Although Yi Qinghan was at a disadvantage facing the second prince, but he wasn't seriously injured, nor was he defeated. There was a hint of admiration in Lu Muyen's eyes. She pinched a few Taoist seals, and numerous fire lotuses floated out from the fire wall, blocking in front of Yi Qinghan. A violent sword aura swung over by the second prince was blocked by the shield wall composed of fire lotuses, and Yi Qinghan took the opportunity to launch an offensive. Lu Muyen directed the fire lotuses within the array that came, and went leisurely to cooperate with Yi Qinghan's attack. Gradually, the fight became evenly matched against the second prince. The others, however, were pretty worse off, because they had been poisoned by Miao Miao's poisonous gas, even if the effect didn't last long, but it was enough for the group of demonic beasts, who had gone crazy for pills, to gang up and finish them off. Not long after, they screamed pitifully and fell to the ground in extremely embarrassing states, and their purple identity jade tablets were snatched away one by one. Among them, Luo Qing he had it the most miserable. He was beaten to the ground by the mountain-moving beast, laying there and spitting blood. But the sinisterness in his eyes wasn't concealed too much because of his pain. Lu Muyan's eyes revealed a chill, and she telepathically transmitted to Shui, "Drain the blood essence of that man." "Yes, owner." Shui had long been unable to wait. When he heard the order, he immediately stretched his vines out surreptitiously under Luo Qing, and when no one was paying attention, he stuck his vines into his body and began to suck. Not long after, Luo Qing's eyes went black, and he died quietly with an expression of disbelief and inexplicableness. Even at his deathbed, he didn't know what was sucking his blood essence. After the others and the demonic beast successfully snatched the jade tablets, they all flocked to surround the second prince together, and regardless of anything, all took action. The second prince was attacked by enemies on both sides, so even if his combat power was amazing, he couldn't stand the ganging up of so many high-level sword masters and demonic beasts. After a while, he accidentally injured himself. With the first injury, more injuries came constantly. Then his back was hurt by a sword aura, and he said to Lu Muyan angrily, "Stop fighting. Hurry up and tell your people to stop." He sure could see now. Lu Muyan was the head of this group of people and demonic beasts. This sure was the first time he had ever been so embarrassed before. Luoli pursed his lips not far away. Who does he think he is to ask for people to stop and they'll stop? Lu Muyan will ignore him. Sinan held his golden foil folding fan and fanned himself in a frivolous manner. Although he couldn't see through Lu Muyan, but after being in contact with her for so long, he still knew a little bit about her. If she could be threatened like this, then she wouldn't be that arrogant and unrestrained woman. As Sinan expected, Lu Muyan glanced at the second prince and sneered. "I have the final say on the rules right now. What right does the defeated have to call for this to stop? If you have the guts, then fight me one-on-one." The second prince was barely able to avoid the sword auras and claws that kept attacking with a trace of exhaustion and anger. Lu Muyan raised an eyebrow in disapproval. "Why should I foolishly waste time fighting one-on-one with you for something that can be resolved quickly by ganging up? Do you think I'm as stupid as you?" The second prince had a mouthful of old blood stuck in his chest, all because Lu Muyan angered him. Watching the second prince be humiliated, Luo Li's handsome face was filled with smiles. "Lu Muyan, do you know who I am?" The second prince was slapped by the mountain-moving beast after being too slow to evade, and it instantly swelled up as he roared angrily. "You are the second prince of Rongzi Kingdom." Lu Muyan raised an eyebrow. "Have you been beaten, stupid? You're even asking such questions." The second prince was slashed by a sword aura on his chest. Then Bi glared at her and said, "You know and you still dare treat me like this? You want to snatch my jade tablets to kick me out of the competition space, but I have to take care of your emotions? Who do you think you are?" Lu Muyan rolled her eyes at him. Then she huffed coldly. "And I heard that you often bullied Luoli back in Rongzi Kingdom? He's a person I'm covering for. If you mess with him, you mess with me. What's so good about Luoli that makes it worthy for you to help him get revenge on me?" The second prince only now realized that him being ganged up on was partly also because Lu Muyan wanted to help Luoli vent his anger. "I already said that I'm covering him, so in the future when you want to bully others you better grow some eyes. Ipe. Luoli is just a little pretty face." The second prince really couldn't understand why so many women liked Luoli, that kind of red-haired wild boy. Seeing his unrestrained expression, Lu Muyan said to the more than a dozen demonic beasts, "Keep beating him up for me, just don't kill him." Roar roar. Luoli felt warm inside, but when he heard the second prince say he was a little pretty face, his expression darkened and turned his head, saying to Sinan, "Aren't you and Hellion Lai little pretty faces?" Sinan sneered. "Don't worry, you can't be a little pretty face the way you are. The second prince is blind." He had to admit that Luoli having Lu Muyan protection made him feel a sour taste. Tisk, you're just jealous of this young master. Luoli didn't miss the envy in Sinan's eyes. Sinan didn't bother paying attention to him, and continued to watch the gang fight on the other side. Piu. The elemental energy in the second prince was depleted very badly. He took out a pill and prepared to take one. Yet who knew that he had yet to put it in his mouth, when it was snatched away by a huge stone hand together with the bottle, and some random demonic beast even whipped its tail on his back. The mountain-moving beast had stayed in the competition space the entire time, and although he could be considered a king of a small portion of an area, but he had never eaten any pills. Ever since he tasted the sweetness of Lu Muyan's pill just now, he became extremely excited when he saw pills. He tossed the second prince's pill that replenished elemental energy into his mouth, then said openly with dissatisfaction after finishing, "This doesn't even taste that good." This human sword master's pill really was so much more inferior to that violent woman's. It only replenished a little bit of demonic energy. How boring. Piu. The second prince couldn't resist spitting out a mouthful of blood. This time, it was completely from being angered. Seeing all the demonic beasts so excited as if they had been given a stimulant, Yi Qing Han and the others withdrew from the battle and watched the fight on the side. With the group of demonic beasts led by the mountain-moving beast, a late-phase Tier 7 demonic beast, it wasn't difficult to win the second prince that was already losing. Sure enough, the second prince, who was robbed of his pill, exhausted his elemental energy, and was beaten by more than a dozen demonic beasts in turn. Luo Li's eyes brightened in the distance. Lu Muyan really is good. That bastard second prince also has such a day. How relieving. Sinan's eyelids twitched. She's getting more and more violent. Lu Muyan instigating the group of demonic beasts to gang up the second prince made him feel pain all over his body when watching. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Luo Li glanced at him. What do you know? This is precisely her charm. Sinan rolled his eyes speechlessly, but he agreed inwardly. No matter how rough and violent that woman Lu Muyan was, she was still so elegant and attractive. Yan Jun and Emo Ling had long since arrived to hide on the hillside opposite Luo Li and the others. Seeing the second prince swollen and bruised, their scalps were numb. This woman really shouldn't be messed with, Yan Jun said in amusement. Luckily he didn't mess with her. Emo Ling's arrogant and solitary aura carried a slight distance from others. Her points have already advanced to the top 100. Lu Muyan's points in the previous 3 months hadn't changed at all, but because of the Jade Tablet rewards for the preliminary round, her points remained in the top 500. Recently, many elite teams from large kingdoms had come here to find Lu Muyan and the others to snatch Jade Tablets, but were all counter-robbed. The purple Jade Tablets had the highest points, so Lu Muyan's points had skyrocketed again. Her goal is the top 10. Yan Jun's eyes were dark, and he asked Emo Ling, who wasn't far away, "What's the background of that person named Chu Han? He's already reached the 20th place, and his points also only started moving in the last half a month." Not sure. He and Lu Muyan are both the dark horses this time, and I'm afraid they're our opponents for the top 3. Currently, Emo Ling had completely placed the one of them on an equal footing with himself. Yan Jun raised an eyebrow. Their strength is really good, but the skyrocketing points like Lu Muyan's is just a coincidence. The top 10 finals must be won through one's combat strength. Aren't you a little too worried? Aren't you thinking the same? Emo Ling glanced at him calmly. Hypocrite. Emo Ling, I really can't hear anything good from your mouth. Yan Jun huffed. Aside from them, Ji Xian's men were also watching the battle not far away. Fourth prince is truly wise. This Lu Muyan really isn't as simple as she seems. One of them said. Seeing the second prince beaten so badly by being ganged up on, their eyelids were twitching. I've got to say, her method of snatching Jade Tablets is very crude and effective. Ji Xian's eyes were filled with admiration. He knew that Lu Muyan was hiding very deeply, and she was probably not even revealing all her strength and trump cards. The corners of his lips rose. He really looked forward to meeting in the finals. Lu Muyan, just what do you want? The second prince's aura was a little weak right now. Those demonic beasts didn't use all their demonic energy under Lu Muyan's orders. But without elemental energy shields, he was beaten until he was in terrible pain all over. Lu Muyan blinked and smiled. Second prince, I wonder whether you still want to stay in this competition space? Of course I want to. Just say what you want directly. First tell them to stop. The second prince wasn't stupid either. Lu Muyan let these demonic beasts attack him, but they didn't hurt his vital points nor snatch his jade tablets, which meant she must have a purpose. Lu Muyan clapped her hands and told the group of unsatisfied demonic beasts, "Stop." The mountain-moving beast kicked the second prince's leg once heavily before he left, muttering, "We haven't even fought heartily yet." Lu Muyan looked at the sky speechlessly. Was it really all right for her to give such a violent demonic beast to her elder brother? The second prince cried out in pain. His leg was definitely broken by this damned demonic beast. "We snatched so many jade tablets, take out your pills." The mountain-moving beast didn't care whether the second prince lived or died, and he approached Lu Muyan to ask for pills. The other demonic beasts also scurried over and stared at Lu Muyan with scorching eyes. Even Yi Qinghan's Golden Eagle King, Qi, was no exception. When the mountain-moving beast took the pill, he smelled the pill and knew that this was the opportunity he could take to break through to Tier 7. Although it was a bit embarrassing to gang up on a human sword master with the rest, but he'd go all out for the pills. Lu Muyan took out a few bottles of pills and stuffed them to Lu Mubai behind her. "Big brother, cash in these pills according to the number of jade tablets they snatched." "All right." Lu Mubai took the pills and said with a smile. Lu Muyan was too lazy to pay attention to the group of demonic beasts that were like wolves and tigers, and walked straight to the second prince. Chapter 269. Robbing openly, Lu Muyan walked lazily to the second prince and squatted down in front of him. The second prince looked up at her defensively. His handsome face was ashen and on guard. She didn't care about his attitude either. She took out a bottle of grade 3 energy-nourishing pills from her interspatial ring, poured one out, and held it with 2 fingers. She shook it in front of the second prince and said, "This energy-nourishing pill has the miraculous effect of healing both external and internal injuries, and costs only 10,000 spiritual stones. Do you want it? Promise you'll be cured." All the people present, and those who were hiding and watching, couldn't resist twitching their lips. They thought Lu Muyan was going to take care of the second prince personally, but who knew that she actually went to do business with him? A pill to treat internal and external injuries actually cost 10,000 spiritual stones? This was simply robbery in broad daylight. The second prince's whole body hurt so much that his face was even paler now. He smelt the pill fragrance and felt refreshed. He wanted it, but it was simply too expensive. 10,000 spiritual stones is too expensive. Not expensive. 10,000 spiritual stones is already cheap for you. If you don't want it, then whatever. Lu Muyan pursed her lips and was about to put the pill away. The second prince felt that his internal organs were in severe pain. He was extremely angered, but he still gritted his teeth and said, "Deal." Lu Muyan gave him a look as if to say, "You are indeed sensible," and handed the pill to him. "You pay, I'll deliver." The second prince's face was completely sore, and his expression was blue and black. Did she think he'd cheat her or something? "Give it to me first, I can't move right now." His whole body hurt so badly that he gasped whenever he moved. Lu Muyan wasn't afraid that he'd run away, and thinking of her future plans, she tossed the pill into his mouth. The pill melted the moment it entered his mouth. The second prince felt a coolness spreading throughout his body, and the burning pain was indeed gradually lessening, while his internal organs didn't feel that kind of pinching pain anymore. He moved his body, and his eyes revealed surprise. Who knew that this woman's pills were really effective? But remembering that he spent 10,000 spiritual stones to buy it, his flesh hurt again. Seeing that the second prince had recovered a lot, Lu Muyan reached out her hand and patted his chest. A purple jade tablet leapt out of his clothes and fell into her hands. After the start of the semi-finals, The identity jade tablets of the contestants weren't allowed to be placed in interspatial spaces and could only be worn on their bodies. This was also convenient for snatching. She smiled sweetly and asked, "Do you still want to stay in the competition space to participate in the finals?" The second prince felt that although she smiled beautifully like this, but he still felt a little frightened inwardly. "Just what do you want? This purple jade tablet is mine now, right?" she asked with a raised arc on her lips and blinked. The second prince suppressed the blood that was creeping up his chest, and his eyes grew more alert. "Since you snatched it, it's naturally yours. So what if I don't want to be teleported out of the competition space?" Lu Muyen didn't erase the identity imprint aura on his jade tablet, which indicated that she still had a purpose. After winning the opponent's jade tablets in the semifinals, as long as one used mental energy to erase the identity imprint, the other party would be automatically sent out of the competition space. If it were snatched, but not erased, then that person could still remain in the space. "Naturally, it's because I want to do business with you." Lu Muyan's eyes curved, smiling like a sneaky cat. Seeing her smile like a flower, lively and cheeky, Luo Li and the others felt a strange feeling in their hearts. What business? The second prince was vigilant. This woman was definitely a tigress that didn't spit out bones after eating. "Do you think this identity jade tablet is valuable?" Lu Muyan asked instead. "Come and read on our website Wuxiao World site." Thanks hearing her question. As long as one wasn't a fool, one could guess her purpose. She was precisely asking for money. "How much do you want?" The second prince asked through gritted teeth. If spiritual stones were gone, it could still be searched for. But if he was teleported out of the competition space, then he would even lose the opportunity of entering the top 100. More importantly, it was too embarrassing. After returning to the empire, who knew how many people would laugh at him? Lu Muyan also expected this before she prepared to extort him. The second prince was still favored in Rongzi kingdom, although he and Luo Li didn't like each other, but it was only small fights and inconveniences. When he came into the array earlier, he didn't have much killing intent either, so he was probably only prepared to snatch jade tablets, and didn't have any thoughts of killing them. Otherwise she wouldn't just settle this with money. "How many spiritual stones do you think your jade tablet is worth?" Lu Muyan played around with the jade tablet in her hands and said with a smile, "If it's too low, you're also degrading your own personal value." The blood stuck in the second prince's chest almost spurted out. This woman was too shameless. He thought for a bit with a dark expression, then asked tentatively, 20,000 spiritual stones? Pfft, so you're only worth 20,000 spiritual stones. Lu Muyan sneered. "Are you trying to send away a beggar?" She was saying 20,000 spiritual stones was enough to only send away beggars? The second prince was about to go crazy. "Then how much do you want?" Lu Muyan paused, then said, 50,000 spiritual sones, not a single cent less. "Are you robbing people?" The second prince was going to be frustrated to death. This woman was just robbing him openly. Lu Muyan's eyes narrowed with her smiles. "Hey, how did you know? I'm indeed robbing openly. Whether you want to give or not, a sentence is enough. If you don't want it, I'll erase your identity imprint. By the way, 50,000 spiritual stones also includes the cost of your destruction of my array. Such a cheap price and you're still trying to haggle. Are you a man or not?" Lu Muyan then added with disgust. "It was 50,000 spiritual stones, not 5 spiritual stones. What did this have to do with being a man? I don't have that many spiritual stones on me anymore." The second prince thought a bit and sighed. Lu Muyan revealed a regretful smile, took out the second prince's teammate's purple jade tablets, and began to erase the identity imprints on it. What a pity! The second prince thought that she was just scaring him. But when he saw the people behind him disappear from this space one by one, he couldn't help shuddering. This woman wasn't joking at all. When he saw that she picked up his jade tablet without hesitation and began to erase the imprint on it, he hurriedly shouted, "I'll give it to you." "What are you giving?" Lu Muyan stopped what she was doing and asked languidly. The second prince said with lingering fears, "I'll give you 50,000 spiritual stones in exchange for my jade tablet." Now you've shown some bit of manly responsibility, Lu Muyen added with a smile. Together with the pill I gave you earlier, it's a total of 60,000 spiritual stones. The second prince took a deep breath. Otherwise he might not be able to resist the urge to strangle this woman to death. He took out a storage bag from his interspatial and tossed it to Lu Muyen with a cold expression. Here. Lu Muyen casually swept over it with her mental energy, and there were indeed 60,000 spiritual stones in it. He handed the jade tablet back to the second prince. If you were more sensible earlier, then you wouldn't have been beaten. The second prince rolled his eyes. He wouldn't believe what this woman said at all. Lu Muyen, this cunning woman, had long set up a trap for him to fall into. Not only did she vent for Luo Li, but she also extorted so many spiritual stones from him in broad daylight. She was truly good. I don't want to see you anymore at all in the future. Lu Muyen stood up, raised an eyebrow, and said arrogantly, domineeringly, and wildly, "Don't want to see me? Then you can only pity that you want even quality for the finals, because I'm bound to enter the top 100. After hearing her words, the people present and those hidden didn't have any doubts. With her current strength, she did indeed have a chance to advance into the top 100. Chapter 270. Return to the city tactic. When the second prince heard Lu Muyen's lofty ambitions, he could no longer underestimate her. Even if this woman's strength wasn't that great, but with her countless versatile means, it might really be possible for her to enter the top 100. Can I leave now? He really didn't want to stay here any longer. His teammates were all teleported out of this space, so he had to make some plans individually. Lu Muyen nodded. Please go ahead. She had already extorted a huge amount of spiritual stones, and it was useless for her to have the second prince remain. When the second prince heard her say this, he got up immediately. The wounds on his body were indeed much better, and he couldn't help but inwardly praise that the medicine was indeed good. He originally wanted to ask her whether she still had any more of that sort of pill, but he held back when he remembered the price of 10,000 spiritual stones. Just when he lifted his foot and took a few steps, Lu Muyen suddenly called out to him from behind. Second prince. He turned his head and looked at her quizzically. Is there anything else? Don't let it be, because she changed her mind and wasn't going to let him go after receiving those spiritual stones. I suddenly remembered that I have some extra red jade tablets that are useless and want to sell them. Would you like one? Lu Muyen looked at the second prince with sparkling eyes, as if he were a gold mountain. The corner of the second prince's lip twitched, and his expression couldn't resist but turn darker. Did she take him as a foolish spender? No need. It only costs 10,000 spiritual stones. You really won't consider it? Lu Muyen continued to ask with a smile. Thank you for your kindness. I really don't need it. The second prince's tone contained a hint of gritted teeth, but he was currently on Lu Muyen's territory, and he couldn't let that anger out in his chest, for fear that she would go back on her words. Seeing that he really had no plans to want it, she shrugged and said, I originally wanted to take care of you a bit, but since you don't want it, then forget about it. I won't sell it to you for cheap when the price rises in the future. The second prince took a deep breath and pulled out a smile. Thank you for your kindness. I really don't need it. But it wouldn't take long for his intestines to turn green with regret. All right. Then you can go. Be careful along the way. Lu Muyen gave a big smile. Extorting the second prince of 60,000 spiritual stones really put her in a good mood. The second prince, however, wasn't in a good mood. Why did he want to beat her up the more he saw that beautiful smile? In order to prevent himself from having the urge to go up and strangle her, he immediately turned around and left. When he passed Luo Qinghe's corpse, there was a haze in his eyes. If it weren't for Luo Qinghe instigating him, he wouldn't be so humiliated today, nor have such heavy losses. It was truly too cheap for this person to die. As soon as the second prince exited the area, he noticed the presence of many people. He was too weak to fight any longer, so he released a flying mount and quickly left. After he left, Fuchen asked Lu Muyen, We're just going to let him go like this? Aren't you afraid of his revenge in the future? This lesson will definitely be unforgettable for him for the rest of his life. Lu Muyin curbed the smile on her face. Revenge? Don't worry, he's a smart person. Then that's good. Yi Qinghan glanced at the array that was destroyed by the second prince and said, The array is already destroyed. Are we still going to guard a stump and wait for hares to bump into it? Today's matter might be spread. Let's move to another place. Lu Muyin had already noticed the aura of the few waves of people not far away, but she didn't point it out. Yi Qinghan also discovered the hidden people, and the corner of his lip rose into a vague arc. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Meanwhile, the hidden people felt their scalps go numb after seeing Lu Muyin extorting a huge sum of spiritual stones from the second prince, especially Ji Xian and Yen Jun. So it turned out that the spiritual stones she wanted from them back then really weren't a black price. After resting for a day in the canyon, Lu Muyin and the others set off for other places to wait for fish to be hooked. Luo Li and the several teams didn't continue to follow, and each went to compete for jade tablets to advance in their ranks. Although the news of the second prince and his party's defeat spread in the competition space, but with the increase of Lu Muyin's points, more people wanted the jade tablets in her hands. Everywhere they went, there would always be mini sword masters from elite teams who would take the initiative to send them more jade tablets. In such a way, more than a month passed, and when there were still only 5 days from the final match left, Lu Muyin's ranking advanced to second place, and the first place was still the mysterious Chu Han. The rest of her team also advanced into the top 100. Even if there were huge changes in the next 5 days, they wouldn't be pulled down the top 500, and entering the finals was practically an ironclad matter. After all, there were only so many jade tablets, and even if the others skyrocketed in the next few days, they wouldn't be able to pull much of their rankings down. On this day, they were resting on the top of a mountain. Yun Ziemo saw the jade tablet flickering and took a closer look. The auction hosted by the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance will be held in the central city in 2 days. Yun Ziemo put the jade tablet away and said to the several people. Fu Chen also looked at the information carefully. The Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance is still largely collecting auction items for this auction. I think many of contestants will take out the items they've found in this space for auction. That's only of course. Every auction in the central area is selected at this time precisely to obtain the spiritual items and spiritual herbs contestants found. If the major forces find it useful, they'll use money to buy it themselves. Mui said. Shifeng thought about it for a bit then suggested. How about we return directly to the city and wait for the end of the semifinals? Each of them now had a large number of identity jade tablets on them, although other people couldn't overtake them in the last few days due to the limited number of jade tablets, but they may also become a public target to snatch their jade tablets. I also think the same. For the sake of safety, let's go back to the city and wait. Yi Qinghan said. His goal was to advance to the top 100 to begin with, and he was guaranteed to enter the finals, so there wasn't any need to risk due to greed. Maybe there are teams who already started to join forces to deal with us. Lu Muyin also agreed with this proposal and thought the same as them. In order to prevent any variables from occurring, let's go to the central city to rest now and wait for the end of the semifinals. Others naturally had no objection. They didn't expect to advance to the top 100 when they entered the competition this time, so they were very satisfied with such a result and didn't want to lose big for something small. Lu Muyin just had a bad premonition that if they didn't leave now, they would be in danger, so she had Bing Ji transform into his original form, and, together with Yi Qinghan's Golden Eagle King, Qi, they carried the 2 teams and quickly flew towards the central city. Just 1 hour after they left, 3 squadrons consisting of many elite teams and more than 400 sword masters stepped into the area where they were before, and with only one look, it was obvious that they were coming for them. Leader, we've searched all over the area. There's no trace of Lu Muyin and the others. Judging from the aura, they should have just left not long ago. A man at peak phase sword sovereign said to the leader. The leader furrowed his brows deeply and ordered without hesitation. Quick chase, don't let them rush back to the central city. Once Lu Muyen and the others hide in the central city and not leave, they would no longer know what to do. After all, one wasn't allowed to fight in the city. Unfortunately, they were a step behind in the end. When they were about to catch up with the two teams, Lu Muyen and the others had already successfully entered the central city, and the three temporary alliances formed to deal with them had no choice but to disband. Those who were already in the top 500 returned to the central city one after another, waiting for the auction to start, while the sword masters who were towards the back could only stay outside the city and frantically block those who came to the city to participate in the auction, or those who were about to go hide and snatch their jade tablets. Meanwhile, all this had nothing to do with Lu Muyen. She was currently preparing for the auction in 2 days at the inn. One just means to be super regretful. Not sure where the saying comes from though. My bad for the late update. Life caught up in the last few days. I was so organized and scheduled more than 10 days worth of chapters to be auto-uploaded so that I could get my life together. But I forgot I didn't schedule a chapter for today XDOL. Hey, race the late chapter. And I'll upload maybe 3 chapters total tomorrow, depending on how free I am. It's the 2-week school Easter holidays right now. Yay! I might upload 2 chapters a day. Chapter 271. Auction Identity Jade Tablets. The news spread that Lu Muyen's 2 groups didn't step out of there and ever since returning to the central city. Many people who had their ideas on them were extremely disappointed, and some even regretted that they didn't gather forces earlier to attack them. Meanwhile, in the past 2 days, whether it was the people who had gathered enough jade tablets to enter the top 500 in the rankings, or those who were facing elimination, they all poured into the central city. They only had one goal, and that was to participate in the grandest and most valuable auction in the competition space. Many sword masters even came with clan missions, just for the few finale auction items. Lu Muyen had spent the past few days refining pills. Although she had collected spiritual stones from Ji Xian, Yan Jun, and the second prince, but she couldn't guarantee that she would win all the items she needed at the auction. So she still had to do some preparation. 2 days later, when there was still 2 hours before the auction starts, Lu Muyen called for her teammates. Muyen, it's still too early for the auction. Are we going now? Yi Qinghan just felt that Lu Muyen had asked them to come out early, because there was some sort of situation. Lu Muyen smiled and asked the few people, "Do you all want to earn spiritual stones?" "Of course we do, but how do we make money?" Fu Chen looked at Lu Muyen with interest. Having asked such a question, she must have some good idea. The others also set their gazes on her. They basically didn't have much spiritual stones on them, but they heard that such large-scale, high-level trade fairs all auction with spiritual stones. They originally were only going to join in the fun and have a look, but now hearing Lu Muyen ask such a question, they couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope ignite in them. If one could buy what they wanted, then only a fool wouldn't want to earn spiritual stones. Besides the top 10 places in the semifinals having rewards, the rankings in the top 500 have little effect, right? Lu Muyen didn't answer, but asked instead. Yi Qinghan replied, "It doesn't matter. It's just in case of any change in the next few days. As long as the ranking is within the top 400, you can definitely enter the finals. The rankings in the preliminary round and the semifinals only determines whether you can advance or not, and doesn't matter much in the following competitions." "Then that's good," Lu Muyen said with a smile. "Let's auction the identity jade tablets we have." "What? Auction identity jade tablets?" Fu Chen asked in surprise. Lu Muyen nodded. "My ranking is 2nd, so I can sell some jade tablets. It doesn't matter if my ranking is 9th or 10th. It's fine as long as I can get the rewards." In the semifinals, as long as the sword masters entered the top 10, they could choose 3 spiritual items among 10, regardless of their ranking, so this also gave her a loophole. Yi Qinghan's eyes lit up and said with a smile, "Yeah, we're currently ranked in the top 100. We can take out some jade tablets to auction. As long as we keep ourselves in the top 400, we can also exchange for a large amount of spiritual stones to participate in the auction. We kill 2 birds with 1 stone. There's no substantial difference between the 50th ranking and the 500th ranking in the semifinals, and it all only meant that they could advance into the finals. Mu Yan's method is excellent. Fu Chen couldn't help but praise. Why couldn't they come up with such a method to get spiritual stones? Mui thought about it for a bit and asked with a smile, "Will anyone want to buy the jade tablets?" Of course there'll be people who want it, and the price when auctioning the red jade tablets might even be doubled at the auction. Lu Muyan said definitively, "Come and read on our website Wuxia World site." Thanks, in fact there were less red jade tablets compared to other jade tablets. There must be many people who lacked jade tablets of this color. Plus, the red jade tablet had the least points, so they would definitely earn a huge amount by auctioning off red jade tablets. We have a lot of red jade tablets on us. I believe there are still many sword masters who haven't collected all 7 colors of jade tablets. If we take out the jade tablets to auction, these people will definitely buy them. A light flashed past Yi Qing Han's eyes. Although he came from a clan in a large kingdom, but the eastern region was the weakest of the 4 regions. The spiritual stones of his clan were all obtained through trading spirit pets. They didn't have mineral veins like other clans from large kingdoms, so he didn't have many spiritual stones. Ling Fei Yang asked with a smile. Then where do we go to auction the jade tablets? Should we take it directly to the auction for consignment? Lu Muyan thought for a bit, then said, "Let's go to the auction place to ask first." I think that no other sword master had ever auctioned jade tablets before, so I don't know if they'll accept it or not. Sure. Everyone had hope in their hearts, and they followed Lu Muyan, all in high spirits, to the main hall where the largest auction in the central city was located. The news that they left the inn early was also spread to the ears of elite teams from various kingdoms. Elder brother, why did Lu Muyan and the others go to the auction hall so early? Luoli ran to Luoyi as soon as he heard the report. Sinan and Helian Lai were also in this, and so they got together to discuss this. Hearing his words, Sinan stood up with a hint of interest in his eyes and said, "Let's go take a look and see and well know." Sure, let's go. At the same time, Yin Jun Ji Xian and the others also received the news. They didn't know Lu Muyan well enough, but they knew her temperament, so they left the inn and went to the auction hall to find out. Such a situation was also occurring in many places in the city. When Lu Muyan and her party arrived at the auction hall, there were also many sword masters waiting to entrust their items for auction. The waiter immediately greeted them with a smile. "Young masters and young misses, please come in. Are you all also here to entrust auction items?" Lu Muyan smiled and asked, "Where's the manager?" The waiter paused for a bit, his expression unchanged, then replied with a smile. "The manager is dealing with things right now. If young miss wants to auction something, you can just hand it to me. If you want to appraise the value of an item, then you can go to the appraiser first." The manager was so busy, so how could he receive these participating sword masters one by one? He, an attendant, didn't even have such power to arrange that. Lu Muyan also knew that she was making things difficult for him, so she handed over a silver token from her interspatial thing. "This is the Ming Alliance token of your Chamber of Commerce. Hand it over to your manager. I believe he will naturally come see me." When the attendant saw the silver token, he took it carefully and said respectfully, "Young miss, please wait a moment. I'll go find the manager immediately." This was the silver-level distinguished guest token of the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance, which made the attendant tremble. He quickly ran to the second floor to call the manager. Meanwhile, Lu Muyan's act of taking out the silver Ming Alliance token also shocked the people present. Even Yi Qing Han, Shifeng, and the others revealed surprise in their eyes. Luo Li and the others who had just entered the hall also took in the scene just now, and the shock in their hearts was no less than others. Even they, elite pupils of superpower kingdoms, didn't have the distinguished guest tokens of the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance. How did Lu Muyan get recognized by the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance? No one suspected that Lu Muyan's token was fake, or obtained from other places. After all, each token of the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance had an identity aura verification, and other people couldn't use it at all. Lu Muyen, you actually have the silver distinguished guest token of the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance. Luo Li walked over and looked at her, his gaze filled with surprise. Chapter 272. Silver Ming Alliance Token. Lu Muyen, you actually have the silver distinguished guest token of the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance. Lu Muyen turned around and saw Luo Li's handsome, bright smile on his face, as if the sun in winter that could shine into one's heart. Is there anything special about the Silver Ming Alliance token? She actually didn't know anything about the Ming Alliance token. Luo Li smiled and said, the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance has 3 types of Ming Alliance tokens. That is bronze, silver, and gold. The bronze-colored tokens are distinguished guest tokens. The silver tokens are high-level distinguished guest tokens. And the golden tokens are top-level distinguished guest tokens. A sword master with a silver distinguished guest token, who auctions items, or buys items in stores under the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance, not only can get a 5% discount of the total value, but when their cultivation base reaches a certain level, they can also receive an invitation to a secret realm. Invitation to a secret realm? Lu Muyen asked with a raised eyebrow. There are countless mysterious and secret places on Tianling continent. Not anyone can enter. It requires certain means and power to open it. In addition to the 6 major sects who have such strength, only a few top forces on this continent can do it. Luo Li paused and said, although secret realms are accompanied by danger, but the harvest is definitely worth taking the risk for. However, such an opportunity isn't available to just anyone. I heard that the silver distinguished guest tokens, issued by the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance, won't exceed 200. So that's why you almost blinded our eyes with the silver distinguished guest token in your hand. Xinan leaned over with his handsome face and smiled frivolously. Lu Muyen rolled her eyes at him. Doesn't matter if you don't have those eyes. Her face didn't change, but she was pondering inwardly. Thinking about it over and over again, she felt that it was impossible for Elder Yi to give her a token of this level. This silver distinguished guest token must have been given to Elder Yi by that guy, Ming Xiu, to give to her. Xinan was stunned for a moment, then looked aggrieved and blinked his phoenix-type eyes. If I'm blind, how can I appreciate beauties then? Especially a little beauty like you. You have no face and skin. Lu Muyen rolled her eyes at him again in amusement. Before Xinan could answer, he saw a slick-looking middle-aged man come down from the 2nd floor, led by the attendant, to Lu Muyen. Young Miss Lu, please don't take offense for being neglected. Let us talk upstairs. The manager was very sincere. The silver distinguished guest tokens had everyone's identity aura verification, so the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance could use special means to identify the identity of the person who bore the token. Then I will trouble manager. Lu Muyen smiled politely. Seeing that Luo Li and the others were all curious, she said to them, if you want to listen, just follow. The fact that she was going to auction the identified jade tablets would soon be known to the public. It wasn't bad to let Luo Li, Xinan and the others come as free labor and deterrent. When the 2 heard it, their eyes lit up, and they followed Lu Muyen to the 2nd floor eagerly. The manager took them to a private room on the 2nd floor, and after they sat down, he ordered tea to be served. I wonder what young Miss Lu needs us to do? The manager asked with a smile. Lu Muyen held a silver distinguished guest token, so she enjoyed a lot of privileges. As long as the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance could do it, then, under general circumstances, the requirements must be met. Lu Muyen took a sip of tea and said lightly, I want to borrow the venue to hold a small auction before your auction starts. I only need 2 hours. After hearing her words, everyone looked at her in a daze. Fu Chen and the others were puzzled. Didn't they agree to ask people from the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance to help them auction it? However, they couldn't compare to Lu Muyen's shrewdness, so they would support everything she did. I wonder what young Miss Lu wants to auction? If there is any spiritual item to be auctioned, It can be auctioned off by our Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance. You are a high-level distinguished guest, and we will only charge half of the intermediate fee. The manager was very curious about what Lu Muyan wanted to do. Lu Muyan's name had long spread throughout the cities in the competition space. They had also heard a lot about her, and now she had the silver token too, so that's why he was so polite to her. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, I want to auction the Identity Jade tablets needed in the semi-finals. Lu Muyan replied bluntly. Pu. Sinan couldn't help but spit out his tea. Auction Identity Jade tablets? You sure have ideas. Helian Lai's lips couldn't resist twitching. This woman must be crazy for money. Could it be that extorting the second prince gave her the inspiration to continue extorting others? The manager was stunned for a moment, then said in amusement. Young Miss Lu, are you sure you want to auction Identity Jade tablets? This is something used to participate in the competition. I'm sure. Lu Muyan nodded. There's no requirement in the rules of the competition that jade tablets obtained must be from snatching, right? There's no prohibition on buying and selling, so I'm not violating the rules of the competition if I sell them. She bluntly expressed her thoughts. It was better to put such things out in the light. Others had deep creases on their foreheads. Was it really all right for you to take advantage of this loophole and be known by the organizers? That's true. Ultimately, the manager was an elite of the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance, and he had no shortage of business acumen. At this moment, he was also a little interested. However, although Lu Muyan dared to do this business, but their Chamber of Commerce couldn't make this sort of money. Don't worry, I'll pay you for the 2-hour rented venue. Seeing that the manager hesitated, she added. If she didn't have the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance to help auction it, she could save a large amount of intermediate fees. In addition, Luo Li and the others took the initiative to join in as laborers, so she'd be a fool not to use them. That's why she changed her original intention. There is no need to pay the venue fee. You are our silver token high-level distinguished guest. I can still give you this convenience. The manager replied with a smile without hesitation. Lu Muyan having the silver token meant that her backing was definitely extraordinary, and there were probably some secrets, but he didn't dare investigate. As far as he knew, even strong sword venerable powerhouses on Tianling continent may not even have a bronze token, let alone a special silver token. Since Lu Muyan had this ability, then he naturally wouldn't miss this chance to make good friends with her, just because of some petty profits. No matter whether it was useful or not, there was nothing wrong with showing goodwill. Lu Muyan knew his intentions and didn't reject his kindness. Then I thanked the manager greatly. I wonder your surname is? This one is Jiang Kong. The smile on the manager's face was more sincere. Lu Muyan's ability to obtain the silver token must mean she had a deep relationship with some, or a certain high-level, executive of the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance. If she said a few good words about him, then he had hoped to be transferred back to the headquarters. Then I trouble Manager Jiang to arrange it for us now. Lu Muyan smiled. Manager Jiang nodded and ordered a few things to the attendant, then personally took Lu Muyan and the others to the auction venue in the lobby on the first floor. Luo Li Si Nan Helian Lai. It's time for you to all come to use. Lu Muyan's eyes were curved and looked at the three with a big grin. Luo Li had a smile in his eyes, and he was very happy to be able to help Lu Muyan. Go ahead and order us. Si Nan and Helian Lai glanced at each other, cursing Luo Li inwardly. We can help, but there's a condition. Si Nan leaned over and smiled affectionately. Lu Muyan raised an eyebrow and asked, Tell me. Si Nan, this fox, wasn't a simple little cat like Luo Li, and she guessed that he probably wanted to sell Identity Jade tablets too. As Lu Muyan expected, Sinan's next sentence was, We also have extra Identity Jade tablets. How about we borrow little Bowtie's light and auction them together? Chapter 273. Lu Muyan's auction. Helian Lai was also interested by the conditions proposed by Si Nan. Lu Muyan must have figured out an exit if she dared to do this. Lu Muyen looked at Sinan and Helian Lai with a smile that wasn't quite a smile and said slowly, "Sure. When we finish our auction, we'll sell yours, but it'll take 1/10 of your auction prices as venue fee and commission fee." The corners of Sinan's lips twitched. Didn't Manager Jiang not charge venue fees? That's what I got with the Silver Ming Alliance token. If you're unreconciled, go to another venue for auction. Lu Muyen rolled her eyes at him. Sell or not. There are many people who want to help, we're not lacking you. I'll do it. Helian Lai decisively chose to make the deal. Earning each bit counts. Either way, 1/10 wasn't too high. Sinan finally saw the speed at which this woman flipped face. All right. 1/10 it is. It wasn't that he couldn't bear the spiritual stones. He just wanted to tease her to begin with. Then why don't you hurry up and go recruit customers? We only have 2 hours. Lu Muyen turned around and looked at the several people fiercely, as if they were going to be beaten by her if they were any slower. Under Lu Muyen's sharp gaze, Sinan and the others ran right out of the auction hall with their tails between their legs and ordered their subordinates to go and spread the news of the auction. In only a bit, the sword masters in the entire central city knew that someone was holding a small auction in the auction hall of the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance, and the auction items were actually the identity jade tablets required for the semi-finals to enter the finals. After hearing this news, many sword masters who didn't enter the top 500 with their points, or those who were in the top 500 but hadn't collected all 7 colors of jade tablets, instantly caused a commotion and rushed to the auction hall to see whether this was true or not. In the courtyard of an inn, a black-clothed man with outstanding temperament was playing a game of chess against himself. "Fourth Prince, there's a piece of news you'd definitely be interested in." One of the elite team members hurried in and said. Ji Xian didn't reply immediately, and after dropping the last black chess piece in his hand, did he raise his head and ask, "What news?" Lu Muyen and Sinan and the others are holding a small auction before the large auction at the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance's hall, and is about to start. The man said with great interest. "Holding a small auction? What do they want to do?" Ji Xian took out a silk handkerchief and wiped his hands. "Auctioning the identity jade tablets needed to enter the finals." The man replied with a smile. Ji Xian raised an eyebrow, then after pondering he chuckled. "She sure is bold. Is she doing this to provoke the authority of the organizers? Will she be punished?" A person who sat beside Ji Xian asked. "The organizers have never stipulated that the trading of identity jade tablets wasn't allowed. It can be considered taking advantage of a loophole, and at most it'll be banned in the future. But she definitely made a profit this time." Ji Xian himself was also a person who liked to calculate, but who knew that Lu Muyen was even more scheming than him. Selling identity jade tablets was only a matter of earning not losing, without even needing to pay the cost price. How did she come up with it using her little brain? "Let's join in the fun." Ji Xian stood up and went out, and the others quickly followed. They were also curious about the auctioning of the identity jade tablets. At the same time, Yan Jun and Mo Ling were negotiating a deal in the private room of the Stream Reflection restaurant. Just as they finished, they heard a series of knocks on the door. "What's the matter?" Yan Jun let the person in and asked. "Master, Lu Muyen, together with Sinan and the others, are holding a small auction in the hall of the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance. Shall we go and have a look?" Lu Muyen cured Yan Jun's illness, and they were very grateful for it, so they were a little more concerned about her affairs. "Auction? Just what wicked ideas has she come up with this time?" Yan Jun's unparalleled face revealed slight interest. Lu Muyen, that woman, really could cause situations wherever she went. "Interesting. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site." Thanks. Mo Ling was also very curious about what Lu Muyen wanted to do this time. She wants to auction off excess identity jade tablets, so she borrowed the auction venue of the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance to hold a small auction. Mo Ling said in surprise. "The venues of the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance aren't rented out. How did she do it?" "I heard that she has a Ming Alliance token, but I don't know the specifies." The person who reported it scratched his head and said, "What? Ming Alliance token? Yan Jun was puzzled. Then after drinking the spiritual wine in his cup he suggested, Mo Ling, let's go take a look? He sure wanted to see what tricks Lu Muyen, that daring woman, was playing. It was the first time he heard that things like the identity jade tablets could also be auctioned. Sure. Mo Ling was also somewhat interested in Lu Muyen. The news that Lu Muyen was going to auction identity jade tablets was widely spread, and in only a moment, many people gathered in the auction hall. Seeing that the time and number of people were about right, Lu Muyen walked up the auction stage with a light smile on her face, her figure elegant and pleasing to the eye. I believe you have heard the news and know what we are going to auction today. Seeing the fiery eyes of many people below, she said with a smile. Exactly. What we are auctioning now is the key to entering the finals, identity jade tablets. With a beckon of her hand, Sinan and Luoli walked out with 2 plates, causing everyone below to be startled. Lu Muyen lifted the red cloth on the tray, and the identity jade tablets of 7 different colors lined up on it instantly attracted the attention of those present. Young Miss Lu, how do you sell these jade tablets? Someone below asked impatiently. His points ranking had already advanced into the top 500, but unfortunately he was just missing a yellow jade tablet. He was originally rather anxious, wondering how to obtain a yellow jade tablet to keep his place in the finals, and didn't expect that it could be bought with money now. So how could he not be excited? All 7 colors of jade tablets have the same starting price. The auction will start with the purple jade tablets, with the starting price of 10,000 spiritual stones. The highest bidder wins. Lu Muyen then announced the auction price following the person's question. What? 10,000 spiritual stones? What this is robbing people? Isn't this cheating us? 10,000 spiritual stones so expensive? As soon as her voice fell, there was a commotion, basically all disagreeing with the price. Even Yan Jun and Ji Xian, who were sitting in the very back row, couldn't help but hold their foreheads. Was she growing the habit of cheating foolish spenders now? She even dared to ask for the starting price of 10,000 spiritual stones for 1 identity jade tablet. But why did they think that the final price of these jade tablets would definitely be unexpected? Lu Muyen didn't stop them immediately, and waited for those below to have discussed a while before casting a look at Sinan. Person who's super gaudy, are you still going to step up or not? When Sinan received the look in her eyes, he knew there was nothing good to come from it. But since he had something to request of her, and he was also interested in her, he could only toughen his skin and scold it, regardless of shame or not. What are you all arguing about? Are you saying a place for the competition isn't worth 10,000 spiritual stones? Get out if you don't want to buy it. Sinan's voice carried the pressure of a sword sovereign, although he had a suave smile on his face, but there was a coldness in his eyes which made those below instantly go quiet. He was very satisfied with this effect and continued. I believe that some people have already advanced into the top 500, but haven't yet collected all 7 colors of jade tablets. There are only 2 days until the finals. It would be a pity to be eliminated like this. Yeah, the person who spoke before couldn't resist, but say in cooperation. So 10,000 spiritual stones for each identity jade tablet really isn't expensive. 10,000 spiritual stones can buy you entry into the finals. Where can you find such a deal? Chapter 274. Revoke participation place. After listening to Sinan's words, those who had already advanced into the top 500, but had not collected all 7 colors of jade tablets were all moved. Spiritual stones could be found again, but if one missed this chance to enter the finals, one would regret it for the rest of their lives. Give me one. The big man who had spoken the entire time shouted again. Lu Muyan's long eyelashes concealed the look in her eyes and smiled lightly. Let the first jade token be considered an auspicious start, so it won't be auctioned. 10,000 spiritual stones sold directly to this friend. I wonder which colored jade tablet you want. Then she looked at the big man and asked. The big man started at the jade tablet on the trays excitedly. I want the yellow one. Lu Muyan nodded with a smile, and gave Sinan a look. Sinan comprehended and handed the yellow jade tablet on the tray to the big man. You've got good eyes. There aren't many yellow jade tablets, and you definitely won't be able to buy them at this price later. The big man took out a bag of spiritual stones to exchange, and said with an honest smile, as long as I can enter the finals, no matter how expensive it is, I'll be worth it. Well said. Sinan gave the big man a look, as if saying you have good insight. With the success of the big man's transaction, many people on the sidelines also became restless. Lu Muyen took advantage of the situation to start the auction. The purple jade tablets were auctioned first, and the last were the red jade tablets. The auction atmosphere wasn't that active at the beginning, but the price of each jade tablet all exceeded 10,000 spiritual stones. When there weren't many jade tablets left, many became impatient, and the prices increased by many folds. Especially when the red jade tablets were being auctioned, the situation could be described as overwhelming. Although the red jade tablets represented the identity of a small kingdom sword master, but it was also the jade tablet with the least amount in the semifinals. There were very few small kingdom sword masters participating in semifinals. There were many people but not a lot of porridge, so many didn't have this color of jade tablets. In the end, the red jade tablets were increased to a minimum of 30,000 spiritual stones, and the highest was 50,000 spiritual stones each. The face of the second prince who finally won a red jade token, at the price of 40,000, couldn't be any darker. He finally found out that the woman really wasn't selling it to him at a black price before. And he regretted that when Lu Muyen asked him if he wanted a red jade tablet for 10,000 spiritual stones or not, why he had a brain spasm and refused. Now his heart was bleeding. He just spent an extra 30,000 more spiritual stones, and he really wanted to give himself a few slaps on the cheek. The auction of jade tablets was better than expected. Lu Muyen was in a good mood, and she let Sinan and the others auction their own. After the auction, many people regretfully asked if there were still any more jade tablets left. They were all driven crazy by the auction atmosphere earlier, and it were as if it didn't matter how many spiritual stones they spent. It was all very profitable. On the top floor of the auction hall were the organizers of this continental tournament for hegemony. The organizer of this small auction is Lu Muyen, who's been restless since she entered the competition space. One of them, a black-clothed elderly man, asked with an indifferent expression. A black-clothed middle-aged man behind him replied, "Reporting to Master, she is precisely Lu Muyen." Interesting. The black-clothed elderly man revealed a rare, slight smile. An older woman whose charm still remained sitting beside him revealed an expression of slight displeasure. She even dares to auction identity jade tablets. She sure is courageous. I suggest disqualifying her from the competition. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. She didn't like women who were in the limelight, and Lu Muyen's way of doing things obviously displeased her. A cyan-clothed elderly man opposite her stroked his long beard and said, "Us organizers has not stipulated that the auction of identity jade tablets is not allowed. If we disqualify her from the competition, because of this, it would be unreasonable. This little girl has the courage to think and act. I sure think it isn't bad. Disqualification from the competition is too serious a consequence." A rather enchanting and charming woman had a hint of admiration in her eyes. She is provoking the authority of us organizers. If everyone learns from this and does the same, wouldn't it break the rules of the competitions? The older-aged woman whose charm still remained said with furrowed brows. The black-clothed elderly man glanced coldly at the woman and said slowly, "This kind of competition should break the norms to begin with. She did a good job." This little girl's behavior was very appealing to him, and he sure could pay more attention to her in the future. Then he instructed the middle-aged man behind him, "Send a complete copy of Lu Muyen's information to me." "Yes, master." The black-clothed elderly man stood up indifferently, ignored everyone, and walked directly out the door. Others didn't dare express their dissatisfaction. This person wasn't someone they could offend. The woman didn't mention disqualifying Lu Muyen from the competitor list because of the words of the black-clothed elderly man. but she was still very displeased with Lu Muyen inwardly. In the castle in the central area, the elders of the 6 major sects also received the news of the auction, and of the organizers immediately. This Lu Muyen sure has so many ideas. She even dared to put identity jade tablets on auction. I don't know whether I should say she's courageous and intelligent, or that she's young and impulsive. The elder of the Spirit Tamer sect said, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Fortunately, Old Mo didn't follow the advice of that spiritual wine master of the Stream Reflection restaurant to remove her from the list. Otherwise it would be a huge loss. Although they didn't agree much with Lu Muyan's approach, but they still appreciated it. Although Li Yuyun is one of the judges of the organizers, representing the Stream Reflection restaurant, but the real power of this competition is still in the hands of Old Mo of the Smithing Pavilion. Even if she isn't reconciled, she still needs to swallow this. The elder of the medicine sect obviously didn't quite like the woman who spoke, and wanted to revoke Lu Muyan's place. The strong and sturdy elder of the 8 Extremes sect snorted coldly. An old woman who can't find a man to marry just likes to point fingers. Seeing that the little girl is young, beautiful, and capable, she becomes jealous. If Lu Muyen was really disqualified because of her words, he would definitely go smash the signboard of the Stream Reflection restaurant on behalf of the 8 Extremes sect. It wasn't easy for him to finally find a good seedling that's hard to find in 100 years for his sect, alright? The others nodded in agreement. She is indeed stretching her hands a little too long. Lu Muyen was the dark horse that their 6 major sects valued. If she was really disqualified from participating in the finals by Li Yuyun, then wouldn't they all be irritated to death? There was a cold light in the eyes of the otherworldly, handsome, white-clothed man sitting behind the few people. A mere elder of the Stream Reflection restaurant dares to be so presumptuous. Should he remove her himself, or wait for his woman to slap her in the face herself? Lu Muyan's small auction took only just over an hour to auction off the excess jade tablets on her. Her ranking also dropped from 2nd to 8th. She happily swept the spiritual stones in her interspatial ring with her mental energy. This time, more than 400,000 spiritual stones worth of identity jade tablets were auctioned off. This was an exceptionally beneficial business, but a pity it wouldn't last. Yi Qinghan and the others also had smiles all over their faces. Each of them had harvested more than 100,000 spiritual stones each. It seemed that they could buy 1 or 2 items at this auction now. Fu Chen couldn't believe it when he was holding the spiritual stones. He smiled excitedly at Lu Muyen and said, Muyen, we can eat all the tasty food and strong drinks out there by following you. That's right, just look at who elder sister here is. Lu Muyen smiled, looking Sundara. Pft, little beauty, who are you the elder sister of? Why don't you call me elder brother? The amount of spiritual stones Sinan obtained was also a lot, and he approached Lu Muyen to joke around, as he was in a good mood. Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow and asked with a sinister smile, what are the benefits of calling you elder brother? Chapter 275. Land of Inheritance. Sinan shuddered when he heard Lu Muyan's sinister tone. Haha, I'm just joking. If he really asked this woman to call him elder brother, then he was afraid he'd lose a layer of skin. Lu Muyen narrowed her eyes at him, then retracted her gaze. Seeing that some people in the auction hall had followed suit, and also started selling identity jade tablets, she didn't say anything. If she wanted to eat meat, then she should let others drink some soup at least, so as not to become the target of public criticism. After a little, the auction of the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance officially began. Because the auction was held in the competition space, so all the sword masters participating sat in the hall without discrimination, and there weren't any separate private rooms. Lu Muyen was the holder of the silver token, so she was arranged by manager Jiang to sit in the front 3 rows. And the sword masters from elite teams from superpower kingdoms also sat in the front 10 rows. Ji Xian and Yin Jun happened to be sitting behind her. The two obviously knew each other, and they chatted while sitting together. Lu Muyen leaned back on the chair languidly, listening in to the conversation between the two from time to time, and obtained some news from it. For example, in today's auction, although the major forces didn't send people to participate, but there were many participating sword masters with clan missions, and the competition would be very fierce. Lu Mu Yen, you made a lot of money this time, didn't you? Yen Jun's amorous eyes were filled with a smile, and he reached out to pat her shoulder. Lu Mu Yen turned her head, nodded, and said with a smile, I indeed earned a lot, but no matter how much I earn, I'll never forget the 50,000 spiritual stones you owe me. Yen Jun's lips twitched. This woman sure was obsessed with money. Yen Jun owes you 50,000 spiritual stones? Ji Xian asked in surprise. Lu Mu Yen glanced at him. So what? I'm just a little curious about how he ended up owing you 50,000 spiritual stones. Ji Xian's handsome face revealed a bit of playfulness. Is it like the second prince? You think that's possible? Yen Jun's face darkened. He wasn't a waste like that second prince. Then why do you owe her spiritual stones? Ji Xian asked persistently. A tigress. She cured my illness. Lu Mu Yen was decisively interrupted by Yen Jun before she could continue speaking. Lu Mu Yen chuckled softly, and she felt much better when she saw the ugly look on Yen Jun's face. What tigress? Ji Xian could see at a glance that Yen Jun's expression wasn't good, and there was something hidden behind what Lu Mu Yen said. Lu Mu Yen looked askance at him, blinked, and said, You want to know? I want to know. Ji Xian nodded. The news fee is 20,000 spiritual stones. Lu Mu Yen looked as if she was like a little fox saying, You got a bargain. You really can only think about money. Ji Xian looked at her with amusement and didn't ask any more questions. It wasn't worth 20,000 spiritual stones to hear Yen Jun's embarrassments. Yen Jun glared at Lu Mu Yen. You woman really became addicted to robbery, didn't you? She actually wanted to sell the most humiliating news in his life to Ji Xian. She's truly abominable. If Ji Xian, this kid, knew that he was almost forced by a demonic beast, wouldn't he laugh at him for the rest of his life? How did you know? Lu Mu Yen blinked. She just said that to Ji Xian so that he would retreat. She wouldn't reveal what happened that day. After all, it was a very disgraceful event for Yen Jun. Yen Jun smiled helplessly. He simply couldn't match this woman's glib tongue. By the way, you just said that she cured your illness. Ji Xian elbowed Yen Jun's arm, raised an eyebrow, and asked, Is it possibly? Yes. Yen Jun's heart disease had been cured, and there was no more fear that he must not speak of it. Ji Xian was slightly surprised. It seemed that he still had underestimated Lu Mu Yen before. Guqin, very old 7-stringed instrument, can be translated to zither. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Suddenly, a melodious and brisk Guqin sound came from ahead, and the auction hall, which was originally noisy, instantly became quiet. After the sound of the Guqin fell, a stunning young woman with a delicate and beautiful appearance and an exquisite figure stepped onto the front stage, causing the eyes of many men to follow her continuously. Beauty. Sinan looked at the stage with great interest, saying so, but his eyes were very clear. Lu Mu Yen saw that the woman on stage was wearing a long rose-red dress, had an excellent figure and her appearance was comparable to that of Mu Ning. But she had a few more mature feminine charms. Not only is she a beauty, she's also a stunner. Lu Mu Yan's eyes were filled with admiration. She didn't know why, but she didn't feel disgusted by this woman, but instead had a faint liking for her. The corners of the several people's lips twitched when they heard her praise. It was the first time they've heard a woman commenting another woman as a stunner. Helian Lai smiled with frivolity and asked, While women also appreciate each other? Why can't we women appreciate each other? The woman on the stage is indeed very attractive. Lu Mu Yen rolled her eyes at him. They didn't deny her words. The woman above was indeed a stunner, but they were more interested in Lu Mu Yen. Greetings everyone. My name is Lung Yi, and am the auctioneer of this Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance auction. Lung Yi's voice was tender and soft, but it didn't make people feel pretentious. This woman's voice is also quite nice. Helian Lai said with a smile. Sinan chuckled and asked, Have you bones softened? Helian Lai's face darkened, and he glanced at Lu Mu Yen in his peripheral vision. Only after seeing that she didn't have any reaction did he turn to glare at Si Nan. Do you think him as lustful as you? This young master likes beautiful women. That's nothing to be ashamed about. How can you say it's lust? Si Nan shook his fan with a frivolous look. Luo Li furrowed his brows and said, Enough from you two perverts, the auction has started. The two of them turned their heads away and cursed inwardly. Luo Li is such a hypocrite. Lu Muyin knew that they were joking around and ignored it, turning her attention to the beauty on the stage. I believe everyone already knows the rules of the auction. I won't say much here. Lang Yi snapped her fingers, and a beautiful woman in yellow came up on stage, holding a tray. This is a sword skill of earth rank, acquired by a sword saint powerhouse in the land of inheritance. It is suitable for ice attribute sword masters, and there are 10 sets of sword techniques. Each set is very powerful, and there is also a set of a nameless sword realm in this sword skill. If one can comprehend it, then your future achievements will definitely be extraordinary. Tossing aside everything else, I believe everyone knows the value of sword skills from the land of inheritance. After introducing the sword skills, Lang Yi continued. As the first auction item, our Chamber of Commerce will set its starting price at 1 low-quality spiritual stone. The auction begins now. Hearing Lang Yi's words, most of the sword masters below were fiery with desire now. It's actually from the land of inheritance. That senior sword saint sure is lucky. Earth-rank sword skills are rare to begin with, and there are even fewer ones that contain sword realms. Who would have expected that would meet one at this auction? Things that come out of the land of inheritance are all good things, even if they're a mortal rank 2 sword skill. Although the starting price of this earth-rank sword skill is 1 spiritual stone, but it's difficult to win without strong capital. That's true. A copy of this kind of sword skill can fetch sky-high prices outside. I wonder how much it'll go for today. The discussions below rose one after another, all revolving around the land of inheritance and the sword skill. Lu Muyen was puzzled and looked at Si Nan beside her, asking, What sort of place is the land of inheritance? Hearing her question, Si Nan and the others were completely speechless. This woman was usually so shrewd and capable, but she actually didn't even know about the land of inheritance. Ji Xian always thought that Lu Muyan's origin might not be as simple as it seemed, but when he heard her question, he couldn't help but hold his forehead. He could now be sure that Lu Muyan, this cunning, sly woman, really came from a small kingdom like that Yinzhou. Otherwise it was impossible for her to not even know the land of inheritance. One don't actually know how author described the woman, because it was censored. Haha, 2 author actually used yellow rank here. But she could have gotten confused since some other cultivation novels do use a similar but different ranking system. Either way, I've corrected it to mortal rank, what she mentioned in an earlier chapter somewhere. But I'll see how many times the author uses yellow rank, and decide which to use eventually. Chapter 276. I've got money with nowhere to spend. Lu Muyen had already read the files in the Imperial Library before coming to the competition space, but it hardly mentioned anything about the secrets of the continent. Yinzhou Kingdom may be considered a medium-sized kingdom compared to its surrounding areas, but compared to the participating kingdoms in the competition space, it was like the difference between a large rock and a speck of gravel. Any few sword venerable elders from any superpower kingdom could destroy Lu Muyan's kingdom easily, which made her sense of danger stronger and stronger. In order to keep the Lu clan standing, she must continue to become stronger. Even the Lu clan needs to be transformed into an iron wall, so that people couldn't take advantage of it. The land of inheritance is a very mysterious place. It's opened once every 100 years by the 6 major sects and several top forces in the continent jointly opening up a channel for the pupils to enter. Si Nan introduced. Lu Muyen thought a bit and asked, Is it a fixed time every 100 years? Do they open a passage just for the pupils to enter? When Si Nan and the others heard her questions, they all subconsciously felt a sense of appreciation in their hearts. She really had a clever mind, and could take the initiative to grasp the key details in a simple introduction. The opening time of the Land of Inheritance is actually not fixed. It's just that every 100 years, there will be a period when the restriction outside is at its weakest. The 6 major sects and several top forces use that time to open up channels. And only allowing pupils to enter is because there's no other way. The inheritance space can only accommodate sword masters who have a cultivation base below Sword Saint. If a Sword Saint powerhouse or above entered the Land of Inheritance, they would be killed by a space storm that suddenly appears, or would be spontaneously teleported out. Sinan continued. Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow. Didn't the auctioneer just say that the Earth-rank sword skill was found in the inheritance space by a Sword Saint powerhouse? Why can he enter? That was 200 years ago. After the last opening of the Land of Inheritance, Sword Saint cultivation base powerhouses were unable to set foot in there. It's said that the endurance of that space has reached its limit and is on the verge of collapse. Yen Jun interjected. If a Sword Saint powerhouse forcibly enters and fights in the space, then it will cause the space to be destroyed and collapse instantly. The Land of Inheritance may never be opened again in the future, so the 6 major sects and several top forces don't dare take that risk, and are also reluctant to sacrifice Sword Saint powerhouses. What good things are in the Land of Inheritance? Is it a secret realm? Lu Muyen was obviously more interested in what was inside. Ji Xian smiled. The most attractive thing about the Land of Inheritance is the inheritance. It's said that the space began to develop in the ancient times. After every high-level Sword Saint and Sword Deity level powerhouses die, as long as their consciousness condenses a will, they will leave an inheritance hall in the inheritance space, and use a wisp of their divine soul to preserve their lives' skills, or special techniques to pass on to those who are destined. There are also Sword Saints or Sword Deity level powerhouses who will choose to go to the inheritance space to build an inheritance hall when they have no hope of breaking through. There are manuals and magic tools from their entire lives placed in there, just for someone to find it and continue their legacy. Luo Yi added. So that's how it is. Lu Muyan's eyes were filled with interest. She might have to go and take a look when she had the chance. While the several people were discussing, the auction was also proceeding fiercely, and the Earth rank cultivation method was already up to 20,000 spiritual stones. You don't want to bid? Lu Muyan asked Sinan and the others. If she remembered correctly, Sinan and Ji Xian both cultivated the ice attribute elemental law. There are some flaws in this Earth rank method. Those who know generally won't bid for it. Sinan whispered. Lu Muyan looked at him and asked curiously, how do you know? What flaw? This manual was auctioned once, more than a decade ago. It was won by a genius sword sovereign. But because the will in the sword skill has the disadvantage of devouring mental energy, the possibility of that sword sovereign advancing to sword venerable was destroyed. Sinan said with slight pity. Observing the people around them who were bidding, one could see that there wasn't a single sword master from a superpower kingdom. Although this was a secret matter, but there were still many people who knew it. After all, things that came from the Land of Inheritance were rare. They were not unmoved, but they didn't dare to gamble their future on a sword skill. Lu Muyan observed her surroundings and also found the problem. There was interest in her eyes. The will of the sword skill that could devour mental energy? Interesting. This sword master has bid 20,000 spiritual stones. Is there anyone else who will bid higher? Lung Yi scanned the people who sat below and said with a smile, I will count to 3. If no one bids, then this sword skill will belong to this friend. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks 1-2. When Lung Yi was about to call 3, a lazy and clear female voice suddenly sounded. 30,000 spiritual stones. Sinan and Ji Xian looked at Lu Muyen as if they didn't know her. Are you crazy? Lu Muyen, Sinan just told you about the flaw of that sword skill. 30,000 spiritual stones isn't worth it. Luo Li didn't expect Lu Muyen to bid even when she knew that the sword skill had a problem, so he persuaded. Lu Muyan's eyebrows were beautiful, and there was an unrestrained smile on her face. No worries, I've got a lot of money. and if I don't use it, I'll feel uneasy. The several people rolled their eyes inwardly. What sort of reason was that? 40,000. Obviously, the previous sword master was also very interested in this sword skill. Lu Muyen ignored the gaze of the several people who wanted to stop her, and continued to bid. 50,000. The sword master revealed a bit of displeasure, then finally sighed and stopped bidding. 50,000 already exceeded his expectations. Lu Muyen, if you've really got too much money that you feel uneasy, we can help you use it. Using it to buy this flawed manual. Be careful not to lose your army on top of losing your wife. Sinan couldn't resist but say. This woman was really not a normal person, knowing that there were tigers in the mountains, yet still walking towards the mountains with tigers. Can't I buy it to be a desk pad? Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow, with an expression as if saying Laonyang has money with nowhere so spend. So I'm happy to buy. Sinan took a deep breath and turned his head to the side. Otherwise he was afraid that he couldn't resist strangling her to death. Lu Muyen was a woman that made people both love and hate, and no one could compare to how she angered people. Ji Xian and the others couldn't help twitching their lips when they saw her expression, as if saying I've got money that was looking for a beating. They won't bother with her. She couldn't be looked at with gazes when looking at a normal person. In the end, Lu Muyen won the Earth rank sword skill at the price of 50,000 spiritual stones, which made many sword masters pay more attention to her. Lu Muyen, after you get the sword skill, don't research too deeply into it. I've heard that this sword skill is very insidious, and has already rotated through many owners. Luo Yi knew that Lu Muyen would never do things without reason. He naturally wouldn't believe the excuse she said about having too much money and feeling uneasy about it. But he still couldn't resist but remind her. With such excellent, heaven-defying talent, it would really be a pity if she was really compromised by this skill. Thank you for your caution, I understand. Lu Muyen replied with a smile. It was precisely because this sword skill had flaws, and was insidious that she bid for it. Otherwise why would she spend 50,000 spiritual stones to bid for an Earth-rank sword skill? Of course, it was naturally impossible for her to announce her ideas to the others. After all, she hadn't even studied this insidious sword skill yet. She won the sword skill purely out of interest and curiosity. You are an unreasonable woman. Luo Li glared at her. Lu Muyen smiled and said in a way that made her look as if she was seeking a beating. What can I do? I've got a lot of money. The several people gritted their teeth, but also had to admit that Lu Muyen was indeed the person with the most spiritual stones among them. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.